they're so real. Already know exactly how you feel. See the head, not like seeing a steeple. You damn well know they're one of the people. Nobody breaks us, 'cause nobody made us, and no one can take this 'cause we got their fix. We are the people, we are the people, we are the people. Don't mess with this.
Good morning and welcome to the Friday edition of Patrick and the People. It's an exciting show today. Of course, we've got Chad Sledge in the studio. He owns Piercings by Chad, puts bonus holes in people all day long. That's his job. And sitting to my right here, welcome to the studio, Alex Ortiz. He's your headlining comedian at the Looney Bin this weekend. What's going on, Alex? How you doing?
I'm chilling, man. Back in Little Rock, driving at 6 o'clock in the morning, you bastard.
Yeah, it's awful early, isn't it?
At 6 o'clock in the morning, driving to the back of some industrial field here, thinking, oh, no, I'm not going to survive this one.
No, this is a trap.
ICE is waiting for me right now. I know they are.
Yeah, no, it's a trap, right? It's definitely a trap, yeah.
It's a trap.
And now a lot of people, I think, feel that way when they pull up, especially when it's dark, because it looks pretty bleak back here.
Yeah, it's scary back here.
Yeah, no, I carry a heater for that reason, just in case. I've literally never seen anybody back here, but I always carry just in case. So you're performing at the Looney Bin, headlining this weekend, which is exciting. Tell us a little bit about your comedy and your comedy style and all that.
Oh, I'm a maniac. I started comedy back in '98. I think I started open micing, and the third time I ever told a joke, Bernie Mac came around the corner. He said, "Come here, motherfucker."
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And he said, "My name Bernie Mac." I know you. He said, "You, hundred in them, motherfucker. I got a room on Tuesday nights, Alex. I want you to come down my room on Tuesday nights, tell some motherfucking jokes in my motherfucking room." So I started hanging out with Bernie Mac, which was like the coolest thing ever.
That does sound like the coolest thing ever, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and he started like kind of, that's a good joke. Why don't you do this? Take this right here. I'm going to change this little joke here. So about 6 months later, he called me up and said, "Alex, what are you doing this weekend?" I said, "I'm not doing shit." He said, "Come open for me in Detroit." So my first paid gig was doing 10 minutes in front of Bernie Mac.
Wow.
And it was the coolest thing ever.
I bet it was, man. I mean, how surreal is it to go from I'm going to try this out to now I'm hanging out with Bernie Mac?
Yeah, that was it. And it was Damon Williams was the first comic. He was the first host. He was like, "Yo, that was funny. Come on back." So the day that I started out, I had a good set. I mean, any comic that doesn't bomb is a fucking liar.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's very true.
And I know a couple will tell you that. But I started out hot, came out the gate hot, and then 9 months later, I got seen by the people at BET's Comic View. So 9 months into comedy, I was on TV.
Wow.
And it went.
It's kind of snowballed from there.
Kept going from there. And then I won Showtime at the Apollo, and that's it.
Wow, you won it. Even.
Yeah, I won it.
That's an amazing thing.
Now, most scared I ever was in my life.
I bet you were. And how long had you been doing it then?
It was in 2002, so about 3 years.
So you'd been doing it 3 years, and you won Showtime at the Apollo. And I'm certain there were seasoned people there who had been doing this for a long time, and they're like, "What just happened here?
Yeah.
How'd I get beat out by this 3-year guy?"
Well, I beat Coco Brown.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
She's my girl. I love her to death, Coco. I love you. We were friends at the point. We'd done Comic View twice already. It's my third season, I think. And I was scared shitless the first time because as I got out, I'm standing backstage, and the comic in front of me got booed. And you know when they booed at Apollo?
They're in booing mood.
Yeah, they come to boo. They bring a little boo suitcase.
The broom and all that.
Oh, yeah, Sandman. He used to come out and sweep you. So he came out and grabbed it. The guy was so mad. He just said, "Boo your ass," and dropped the mic and walked off the stage. And then Steve turned to me and said, "You're next." I'm like, "Fuck you. I'm not going out there.
Come on, man.
Throw some meat out there or something. I'm not doing out there." But I went out, and first time standing O. And I thought, shit, that was awesome. And
that is awesome, man.
I wanted a couple more weeks, and then they went up. I went for the championship against Coco Brown and ended up winning the whole thing. It was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
One of those moments that when life gets tough, I just close my eyes and go, "Remember when you walked across the stage in Harlem at the Apollo Theater?"
Yeah, man, that's great. I mean, to walk out on that, it's such a storied stage.
Legendary. I mean, if you go backstage in the room, they have everybody who's ever been there signs the walls.
Oh, really? Okay.
Everybody. So I mean, you got Smokey Robinson, you got Richard Pryor, and I'm a huge Ray Charles, Louis Armstrong fan. So I found Ray Charles'
Oh, wow,
signature,
yeah.
and he had written on the wall.
He had a signature?
Let the good times roll.
Wait, wasn't he
Ray
blind?
Charles. Yeah, you can still write. That's not. I mean, you didn't have to see
You
the
think
right.
he wrote that?
Yeah, he wrote that. Yeah,
Wasn't
he
in
signed
Braille?
his name? No, it wasn't in Braille. I mean,
Okay.
I just saw a sign as I'm driving here, North Little Arkansas School for the Blind. Who the fuck is that sign for?
Yeah, that's,
On the expressway.
yeah, no, that's a good
So-
point. I'm not sure. That's
I'm like, somebody, that's a right turn right there. I better turn.
yeah.
Yeah, so I saw he put "Let the Good Times Roll," Ray Charles,
That's great.
1963, and right underneath it I put "Yeah, boy."
Yeah, boy.
2002. So
That's awesome.
it was
man.
one of those. Yeah, that was the moment that everything went crazy. Because after that, I did Comedy Central, and then I did Bad Boys of Comedy with P Diddy, but I did not go to the after
You didn't
party.
go to the freak off?
Did not go to the freak off. Not that it was because I wasn't invited.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, if
I
I'd have
would've
been
gone.
invited, if I'd have been invited to the freak off, I'd have probably shown up just to
I've been
see
there.
what was going
Oh,
on.
I'd have been there.
You
I'd
know?
have been knee deep naked with some Diddy lube all over me. I don't care.
I'm not sure I'd have got the lube out, but I feel you on that, man. I feel you on that. So, how long now have you been doing comedy?
Oh, 25 years.
25 years, man. That is
I'm having my
amazing.
25th anniversary in Chicago this year.
That is amazing, man.
Yeah.
25
Yeah,
years.
like-
So, what would you say, in your 25 years thus far in your comedy career, is the greatest accomplishment? Besides making it 25 years.
Oh, I mean, the Apollo was one of those moments that I'll never forget ever.
Yeah.
Ever. But to me, it was going back to the USO tours and hanging out. Because I'm ex-Army. So to go back.
Oh, much. Thank you for your service.
Oh, I appreciate that, dog. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
How long were you in?
10 years.
I was in 7.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Wow, baby. I was
Yeah.
a nurse. I was a
Okay.
combat medic and a nurse.
Okay, all right. I was Signal Corps.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Fort Gordon.
Yeah, I was too, man.
Yeah. I stayed there for a while.
I did too, man. Over in Fort
TMC
Gordon.
there. in Fort
Yeah,
Gordon.
baby.
Yes,
Yeah, I
sir.
used to
Yes,
run
sir.
up to Atlanta all the time from there, man.
Oh yeah, I was in Fort Sam Houston was where I spent most of my time.
Okay, yeah.
down
Now,
there.
see, I was over in Killeen, and then I was over at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, as well.
I
Yeah.
did Fort Knox, Fort Gordon, Fort McCoy, Wisconsin, Fort Benjamin Harrison, and then Fort Sam Houston.
Yeah, so you had a personal connection to the USO at that point. It was important.
And it was
yeah.
so cool to go back and be able to talk about the shit I got in trouble for when I was in the Army.
And not get in
not
trouble.
Get in trouble. Yeah,
That's
it was
right.
awesome. It was,
No,
and then
I
I
can
found
only
my drill
imagine.
sergeant at a show. My drill sergeant from basic training, I found him while I was on stage at a show. I roasted his ass.
Did you
Oh, it
really?
was so much fun. He came afterwards and hugged the shit out of me.
I bet he did, man.
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
pretty cool about
Oh
it.
yeah,
I
he was real
bet.
cool about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Army has a pretty good sense of even as many times I had to do push-ups and clean latrines for the funny shit I said.
Man.
They still had a pretty good sense of humor.
No, it's same for I got in trouble all the time.
Yeah,
man.
I
Yes.
stayed in trouble.
Especially when you're in basic and then school after, man,
Yeah.
you just always getting hammered. For
Oh
things.
yeah, you get. I mean, being drunk in the Army was just part of the gig. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of that going on. I'll never forget basic training. I more or less lost my M16, and man, what a nightmare, bro! They shut
Oh,
the
my
fort down.
God.
It was bad. Well, I didn't lose it, but we were doing. We had just gotten our M16s at that time. They don't have that now. I think it's called an M4. But anyway, the drill. We were out doing bayonet training. Just combat. Not even no bullets, no nothing. And the drill sergeant, another drill, not mine, said, "Let this private use your weapon." And I said, "I can't do that, drill sergeant." He said, "What do you mean you can't do that? I just told you to do that." I said, "My drill sergeant said don't let anybody use it." He said, "If you don't let him use it, I'm going to stomp a mud hole in your back." And I said, "No, he can use it. That's just fine." And so I told dude, I said, "Listen, I've got to go back to the platoon, to the bay. You've got to just bring it back to me at my bay." Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah.
And so when weapon turning time came and I didn't have a weapon, man, they locked it all down. Every bit of Fort Sill got locked down front to back. The gates are locked. They're doing locker searches and shit. And they finally sent someone out to the range. It was leaned up against a tree.
Oh.
I had 4 drill sergeants and senior drill sergeant in his office yelling at the same time at me. And you could hear every one of them.
Oh yeah.
And from that point forward, every time I saw them, I had to do push-ups if they got within 10 feet of me.
I got dropped the same way. There was a drill sergeant Day. I was telling jokes one time sitting in there. I was just talking, making everybody laugh. And so he said, "Hey, you a funny man, huh?" I said, I've been known to be funny. He said, yeah? What else can you do? I said, I do voice impressions and stuff like that, which I do in my act now.
Yeah.
That was a mistake.
Yeah.
That was a fucking
Oh,
mistake.
yeah.
So he said, which one do you do? And I said, I do like old cartoon characters, you know what I'm saying? The Bugs Bunny cartoons. I do all these characters. So he said, can you do Porky the Pig? And I said, yeah, but that's all, folks. And he was like, that's good. So every morning at morning formation, he called me out. He started calling me Porky. That was pissing me the fuck off every morning. Porky, get out of here. And I jump out in front of the formation. He said, good, do it for me. And I said, but that's all, folks. Every morning, 6 o'clock.
Same one. He couldn't even ask for a different impression.
It was the same impression every morning.
Real
So,
simple guy here.
The guy's name was Sergeant Day. He was pitch black, blacker than night. Like he was one of those blue-black guys, you know?
Yeah.
And one day I was just in a bad fucking mood, and I walked out, and I said, he said, Porky, get out of here. And I just wasn't feeling the Porky thing that day, and I walked out. And I said, Drill Sergeant Dave, can Private Ortiz ask a question? He said, yeah. I said, how does a nigga black as night get to be called Dave? I think that was the first time I saw him turn red. And he got so pissed. He got up on his, what the fuck did you just say? I said, you heard me. I was a Negro black as night, get to be called Dave. He said, Ortiz, whenever you see me, whenever you smell me, whenever I come near you, just drop. So I'd be standing in the child line, and he'd walk by, Ortiz, start doing push-ups. So by the time I finished basic training, I maxed out push-ups.
Dude, me and you are the same. I went in weighing 240, came out weighing 180. Yeah, no, they broke me, man. I was running everywhere at that point.
Yeah.
You know, every push-up, every sit-up, man, I was killing it, man.
Yeah.
I had to, or they were always watching me, you know.
Yeah.
So, what are your favorite impressions? You like the Mel Blanc?
I
old
do.
Looney
I
Tunes
do all the
stuff?
Mel Blanc characters. I do Sesame Street characters. I do singing impressions like Michael Jackson. And stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Well, do one that you like.
My favorite one?
Yeah, just do your favorite.
Where is my Imodium P-38 space modulator?
Yeah, Marvin the Martian.
I bet
baby.
that fucking rabbit has it. So I do a lot of
That's
different
great.
things.
No, it's great. I like that you infuse some language into it that makes it a little funnier.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate that.
I
a
make
great deal.
Sesame Street all grown up.
Yeah, no,
it's a
I'm
blast.
sure that's great.
Yeah, it's a blast.
That's great. That's great. So when you were growing up, when you first discovered a love of comedy, who was it that you saw that you went, man, I want to be like that, man?
Richard Pryor.
It was Richard Pryor. You know, it meant so
George
many
Carlin,
comedians.
those two guys, when I was growing up, those were my favorite. Then Cheech and Chong, of course.
Yeah, everybody
I
loves
mean,
Cheech and Chong.
oh, Cheech and Chong. My mom had all these albums, and I was a kid, and she would leave us alone, and I just put on these fucking albums to listen to them. And I think my favorite one is, who is it, man? It's me, man. It's Dave. Open the door. Dave's not
Dave's
here,
not here.
man.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And I mean, I got into Cheech and Chong, and then Carlin was just a genius. The way he could turn anything into a joke.
Yeah, we've talked about him many times. What I give him, he certainly is an influence on me. I give him mad respect because he was more committed to rote memorization than any comedian I've ever seen. I mean, every word had a place, and it was in its place.
Yeah.
And to go through the stream of things that he did in the order he did and be spot on every time is a real commitment, man. And so he's certainly one of the greatest wordsmiths that have ever been in comedy.
And I mean, he was always about the people. That was the kind of coolest thing about him. He went against the establishment hard.
Very hard, yeah. He was frowned upon many times,
Oh, yes.
for that. Yeah, he was considered somewhat of a troublemaker, a rabble-rouser, if you will, in the day,
But I got lucky. I started comedy, and I walked into a club called All Jokes Aside in Chicago, which is a legendary black comedy club. There was only two kinds of comedy, white and black. And there was no Latin comedy when I started comedy. So I walked into this black comedy club, and it's a legendary. I mean, I started running with Dion Cole, Craig Robinson.
Oh, wow.
These are my guys I used to feature for. Corey Holcomb.
Oh, Craig Robinson. He was on The Office.
Daryl from The Office.
Funny guy.
He's hilarious, and he plays the piano. And I mean, I started hanging out with megastars. D.L. Hughley I opened for, and that's when I started working with Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac, I went to the King when he became King of Comedy. This is before he was King of Comedy. Then he blew up, became one of the kings of comedy, and I went to go see him. And I had already opened for DL in West Palm Beach, and so he calls me into the back. And, it was funny because I drove from New York. I was in New York performing, so I said, "Hey, Bernie, I'm gonna come see you." He said, "Come on out, Alex." So I walked over and I got my little backstage pass, and I went to go. And had a big star on his door. It said Bernie Mac, and I went to open the door, and somebody stopped me. Said, "Where you going?" I said, I'm gonna go see Bernie. He goes, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Alex Ortiz." And he goes, "Hold on." So he walked in and come out, and from inside the room, he had Alex Ortiz, you ugly motherfucker. Bring your pussy ass in there and have a drink with me. So I walk into the room, and there's these 2 bottles of Moet. He's got a prime beef buffet in his room set out for him.
Wow.
Just for him.
Just for him, man.
Just for him. So I'm sitting in there with him. We're drinking. We're having a good time. And he goes, "Come on, let's go outside." And he took me out, and he introduced me to Steve Harvey at the time, and then Cedric the Entertainer. Cedric was like, "You that funny Puerto Rican dude from Chicago?" And I was like, "Holy shit, Cedric knows who I am." You know, it's kind of those
that's
moments.
crazy, yeah.
And then Bernie gets out on stage, and I'm standing there. I had a Corona at the time, standing there, and Bernie walks out on stage. He goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, before I get started, I want y'all to introduce y'all to one of the future kings of comedy, Mr. Alex Ortiz." And all the cameras hit me, and I'm standing there like an idiot with the king. I didn't know what to do. I was like, man, and I'm 60-foot high screens.
Right.
And I'm like, holy shit. That
Oh,
was
wow.
crazy.
That's surreal, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, how amazing, just to stop and think about your life and go, there was a time where, Bernie Mac's on the stage telling me I'm the next king of comedy.
Yeah, that was
crazy. That had to be a pretty surreal moment.
That was one of those moments that, I'll never get it back. It was like one of those moments. I just stood there for a second and went, did that just fucking happen?
Yeah, no, I mean, I would be too. I mean, that's insanity.
Yeah.
I mean, how many, 1 in a billion chance of something like
yeah.
that, maybe more odds. I don't know.
It was one of the coolest things.
I mean, it sounds like that, you were blessed to be mentored by the very best there was out there.
I started out hanging out with some of the hottest comics.
And the
they're still
heavy
hot.
hitters.
Dion Cole is, we were on tour for years together, me and Dion Cole, and he's one of my best friends in the world, and he's one of the funniest people alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's Conan O'Brien. I was with him when he went to do Conan O'Brien the first time.
Yeah.
I just happened to go to L.A., moved to L.A. like a week before, and I called him up and said, "Hey, Dion, I'm in L.A." And he called me up like 2 minutes later. Said, "Hey, I know why you're here." I said, "Why?" He said, "I just got booked to do Conan, so you're coming with me." I was backstage with Conan and hanging out.
Yeah. What's it, when you go to a place like that, like Conan, for example, and you're waiting, for the time that they call you out to come from behind the curtain or whatever. What are you guys doing? Are you
We're in a green room.
In a green room?
A big green room. But the thing was, Dion was about to do Conan. I was just there having a good time. So I'm drinking, talking shit. I'm making jokes. I'm asking where the hookers are.
Right.
We're in Conan. Where the hookers? What do you mean there are no hookers? Really? This is Conan. And so Dion's he's just having a great time laughing. He didn't say anything for like 20 minutes. He went out. He did the show. He came back, walked into the green room, walked into a corner, and almost passed out.
Yeah.
He had killed.
But he was just so tense.
So all the nerves.
Yeah.
He said, had you not been there, I'd have sat there the whole time for 20 minutes before I had to go on stage thinking about what I had to do. But because you were there acting a complete ass, he goes, I never thought about the show until I got out on stage. So
he kind of bypassed the nerves a little bit.
Yeah, I helped him with his nerves. I didn't even know I was doing
That's
it. I was
cool,
just being myself. But he destroyed it. And then he got hired as one of Conan's writers. So
really?
Yeah, he wrote on the show for a couple of years. Yeah.
Now was Conan pretty gracious, pretty nice?
Oh, nicest guy. Andy too. Andy and me were talking about. I just got a new iPhone. It was the iPhones that just started coming out.
You kind of expect Andy to be that way. You always hope Conan's that way.
No, Conan walked out. I got pictures of him and Dion.
He's like 40 feet tall too when you see him in person. Isn't he?
He's a nice guy though.
Yeah.
His hair is 45.
Yeah, right.
His hair is 45.
Get that pompadour thing going, man. That Bruno Mars.
But yeah, it was one of those. And the coolest thing was we're standing backstage, and the stage manager walks over to Dion. He's telling him what to do, and he turns to me, and goes, "Hey, Alex, how you doing?" And I was like, "Did that guy just fucking call me Alex?" And that's when Dion's manager was like, "Yeah, you're on the horizon. People know who you are." And I was like, "Cool," but I fucked that all up a couple times.
Yeah. How did you do that?
I was a drinker, partier.
Yeah.
I started comedy. I'm that guy walking into the room.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped drinking, because I have no off switch.
Yeah, I
When it
understand
comes
that.
to drinking, if I start drinking, I'm gonna go down that road to wherever it leads, and it could lead
And
a lot of
what's
places.
what's the question they always ask? Alex, can't you just have 2 drinks?
Yeah, no.
Can't you just stop at 2?
No.
No, I'm sorry. That switch wasn't installed in me. It
Yeah,
wasn't
I don't
in my
have that
OEM.
switch. Once I have the first drink, I'm like, okay, I'm good. And then I have the second drink, then the
I'm
third
better,
drink.
yeah.
Then at the fifth drink, I'm kind of going, all right. Somebody goes, hey, man, you want to go smoke a joint? Fuck yeah, let's go do that. Hey, you want to do a line? Sure, why not? Let's do some mushrooms. Fuck yeah. Let's go rob a liquor store. Come on. I'm that guy.
Yeah, no.
I don't know how to say
I
no
think-
at that point.
And I have to imagine, and please tell me if I'm wrong, but I have to imagine in the crowd that you were associating with, there were probably plenty of people willing to provide party supplies at any moment.
Oh, and after
were
the
lots of
show,
ditties
as
in
much
the
as I
world.
love people, lots of ditties in the world, But after the show, a lot of people, and I love my fans, I do. I love hanging out with them. But a lot of people will come up and go, "Hey man, I got a little, hey man,
I've had it happen a million times.
No, that's why I can't do cruise ships anymore, because people are constantly just drinks here, here's a drink.
Oh
here's
yeah,
a drink,
that's
here's
it.
a
They
drink,
love
here's
to drink on a
yeah.
cruise ship.
And then I'm like, no, I can't be here no more.
Yeah.
It was detrimental to me. So I've screwed up a bunch of opportunities because of being drunk and stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm older now.
Older, wiser.
I'd rather make the money.
Yeah. Now I get it. There's
Yeah.
a value to it. So, would you classify yourself now as sober? Would you say you're sober?
I'm sober.
Or California sober? Or?
No, I don't smoke weed anymore or anything. I mean, I may have a drink occasionally,
Yeah.
but I know if I have that first drink, it's going to lead to the second drink
And
third
the seventh
I
drink
don't
and
take
the
that
rest
for-
of it. Yeah. No, that's good. Good for
When
you,
I have
man.
that 15th drink, then I know I'm in trouble.
You know, there's and I'm sure you've run in the comedy circuit long enough to know this person. But there's a comedian who probably has one of the greatest sets I've ever seen in my life, and I'm not exaggerating. I'll watch it right now. Anybody could watch it and love it. It's called Bits and Pieces, I think. It's by Pablo Francisco. You know Pablo?
Fuck yeah, no, I did his show, Que Locos. when
He was
hosting
one of
that.
those guys who also had some demons that prevented him, I think, from getting to the heights.
Oh,
that
he was amazing.
one of the one of the greatest
nice
voice
guy.
talents. Yes, very
Sweetest
nice.
guy, yeah.
Yeah, one of the greatest voice talents I've ever seen in my
Oh,
life.
yeah.
Did you? A friend of mine who we lost a few years back. I don't know if you ever ran into him. He was kind of known on the circuit a little bit. Eric Myers.
Oh, Eric, yeah.
You knew
I
Eric?
love Eric, yeah.
Man, Eric was great people, man. He used
Yeah.
to stay at my house, man. When he
Oh,
was
he's
coming
awesome,
up,
dude.
I would bring him out, fly him out here, and which was a challenge on its own because he was scared to death of flying, and he had a problem with drinking. So he'd get off the plane drunk and call my girlfriend and say, "Can you come get me?" But he was so good. I mean, he was
Yeah,
one of the
I
greatest.
met him on the road years ago, and then when I went to L.A., he came out to L.A.
Yeah.
And so we started hanging out in L.A. hard, but he had these moments. I mean, he's like most of us addicts, when you get lost, you get seriously
You get lost. Yeah, no,
you're
he's
done.
all in when he's in.
Yeah, he's all in. He's in the woods, gone.
Gone.
Yeah, he'd
And you
show
won't
up to
hear
the
from
comedy
him for
club, looked like
days.
he hadn't had a shower in 4 or 5 days. He looked
Yeah.
like, he looked like hell, and come in and going, "I want to get on stage." And the owner's like, "Eric, you can't
Eric,
go up
you
there."
can't go
But
like that, man. Yeah.
Pablo, yeah, he's a beast.
Man, his voice talent
Yeah.
is just, I mean, very, Ari Spears is like that. Jay Meadows, I guess, is like that.
Yeah.
I know you do a lot of impressions
Yeah.
as well. But but Pablo just had something special with
Oh,
his
and
voice.
then the way he could just, and the energy on stage.
Yo,
he was a
absolutely.
monster, man.
Now, let me ask, as far as, more modern comics, who do you love?
Now,
Yeah.
there's so many. I watched these kids coming out of Chicago. T. Murph is out of Chicago. He's a good friend, and I think he's funny. But to watch comics, I don't think anybody right now. Dave Chappelle is the GOAT.
Well, you can't really beat Dave
Yeah,
Chappelle. I mean,
but-
honestly.
Dion Cole is just a monster. He's like
Yeah.
he's like my idol. Like I watch him do, and he can write a whole new hour in no time.
Yeah, it's always cool to see people who can do that.
Yeah.
That was always when I was doing stand up. My forte was writing.
Yeah.
I'm a good performer, but writing is
Yeah.
really where it was, and that's cool. Now, aside from some of the famous comedians that you hung out with or whatever, did you have any occasion in your 25 years to run into other types of celebrities, and which one was like, wow, I can't believe I'm talking to him?
Oh, when I ran into Kevin Hart.
Oh, wow.
The first time he turned to me and said, Alex Ortiz. But at the time, I had just done like an 8-ball of cocaine.
Oh, no.
So when he saw me, he's like, Alex Ortiz. And I was like, and it was the first impression. And I think ever since then,
Yeah, that was that.
That's it. That was
Yeah.
it. He saw me like that and he was like, never again. But I think I got set up by the comic that introduced me to him. Like the
Yeah.
comic introduced me to him was, hey, man, let's go get some
Yeah.
blow. And I was like, fuck yeah, at the time. And so I went and he got me a blow. He laid out this big old rail and I did this whole ass rail and shit. And then I was, like
Yeah,
this.
right.
And then he said, no, let's go meet Kevin Hart. And I was
And
like,
you're like, oh, you son of a
"Fuck,
bitch.
Yeah, you son of a bitch. But I met Kevin Hart. I've had pictures with, when I opened for Ray Charles at the House of Blues, that was one of those moments that I'll never. When he shook my hand, my knees went weak. My heart skipped a beat. And
How did he know where your hand was?
Oh, they told you.
I'm kidding,
he's
man. I'm
been
just
doing it
messing
for
with you,
years.
man. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah.
How cool was he, though?
Oh, he was awesome. He was awesome, and he after I came off the stage, he walked over and he said, "That was funny." He tapped me on the shoulder. I told him, I was like, I got all weak in the knees. I was like, oh my god,
That's
Ray
great,
Charles.
man. No, that's great.
Sinbad.
Oh, yeah.
I got
man.
to open for Sinbad.
You know
in the
what? Where
Bahamas.
is Sinbad? What happened
Oh,
to
he
Sinbad?
got sick. He got into.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, I got real sick here, like a stroke or something.
Oh,
yeah.
I did not know
And
that.
he was.
He's a little better now.
Yeah, but he was out for a long time. He was down.
Yeah,
for a long time.
he was, I think, in the late 80s, early 90s, one of the biggest
Oh,
stand-up
biggest stars
stars there
ever.
were. I mean, he was huge. He did that movie with Arnold, Jingle All the Way, which is a classic. Great comedy movie, so he was awesome, man.
Yeah, he was, and he's a sweet guy. He's a sweet guy. And Arsenio Hall. I've met Lunell, Dane Cook, Michael Blackson's a friend of mine.
Yeah, Dane Cook, I like, you said Dane Cook, right?
Yeah.
I like Dane Cook. I liked a lot of his earlier sets a lot, especially the one where he's in the round. I don't remember the name of it, but he kind of as fell off some.
And the thing about him was when I met him, I was like kind of like, what a fucking jerk, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't a really nice guy.
Really?
I doubt it was the strangest thing. Russell Peters, nicest guy you'll ever meet.
I could see that.
Yeah, he's one of the sweetest guys you'll ever meet. So I've been in the game for a minute, so I've met pretty much.
So you've probably experienced everything. How do you deal with if ever you have hecklers?
I usually go right for the fucking testicles.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's the way to go.
I don't play around with them. I hit them so hard that the next one thinks twice about doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, most of the time when I've done stand up through the years, it's rarely is it really a heckler more than it's some drunk person who just wants to participate in the show.
I'm helping the show kind of guy.
Yeah.
I was just helping as part of the show. No, it's not.
No, you're not. You're not being paid for this, my brother.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you go as hard on them as you would a heckler, or do you see any difference between the two?
I kind of ignore them
Mm-hmm.
if I can until they get where I can ignore them, and then I fucking slice their throats.
Yeah. No.
I mean, we were kids. We played the Dozens. Where we talk shit about each other all day long. And we called it the Dozens in the neighborhood.
Okay.
We get together, and now they're roast battles.
Okay, a roast battle.
So
Yeah.
we had the Dozens. So I got pretty good at it when I was younger, and I don't like pulling punches. I like to punch you right in the fucking throat, so you don't do it again.
Yeah. Have you ever been speaking of roast? Have you ever had the occasion to do a roast? Do those kind of things?
I've been roasted like for my birthday a couple years ago. They had a show. It was a roast, and I got roasted by every comic in Chicago. Yeah.
Really? That's fun. That's fun.
Well, fuck you. It wasn't no fun.
No, well, probably wasn't, was it?
I was just sitting there going, "Fuck you! I hate you and your mom, you bastard."
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that completely. I sure do.
But like I said, they had a lot of material. There was a lot of years there where I was kind of fucking partying hard and acting like I was a complete asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, you have to live with that too.
Yeah. Well, let me do this real quick. First of all, I do want to mention Pitts Auto. If you're looking for a late model, low mileage vehicle, check those guys out. They're over at 8421 Stagecoach Road in Little Rock. They've been there for about 40 years now, and they're their own bank. They do their own financing. So even if you got some credit problems, they got your back, and they're nice vehicles, not something, it's not a hoopty you're going to be embarrassed to drop the kids off at school in. You know what I mean? Or at least they won't be embarrassed. Check them out online, fittsauto.com. They've got their inventory online, all the cars. It shows pictures, everything you need. Check them out. And let me just do a little bit of news this morning because I know some folks will need that in their life. Just a few things. And Alex and Chad, of course, as always, feel free to comment on anything that I'm talking about. There was a near miss that was eerily similar to the collision between that Black Hawk and American Eagle flight at Reagan National just the day before the tragedy. Republic Airways Flight 4514 forced to back out of touching down and make a second approach after a helicopter appeared near its flight path. They listened to air traffic control audio that recorded it. The data shows the plane was traveling from Windsor Locks, Connecticut to D.C. and had to dramatically gain altitude shortly after final descent and did eventually land safely. Do you guys... Is it just me, or do you feel like there's something weird with this helicopter plane crash thing? I mean, does it seem odd to you, off to you somehow?
I don't understand how an Army helicopter, these guys, these guys are they're
the best.
The best, right. Yeah. How it hit a plane.
The plane's fully lit up. You're coming straight at it. I mean, was there a topless chick out the window somewhere?
No idea.
I mean, I'm not saying anything did happen that's not, but it's
weird, man.
Man, it's way weird, bro.
I agree.
It's way weird, man. It's something's not right here. I don't know, man.
I mean, I was in a military base. I drove for a colonel while I was in between classes, from GMO to combat medic. So I had like 4 weeks before classes. So all I did was CQ. I was at the office.
Yeah, the headquarters.
Yeah, taking phone calls and stuff like that. So I was driving the colonel, and one time they had this thing in. And it was an Air Force display. They had all these big wigs, senators, and all kind of people come down there sitting in these stands. So I was driving the colonel, and I pulled in. I sat in the car, and they had this field, and it had all these targets. And there was these red targets and green targets. And it was a huge football field.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there, just kind of, and the guy's talking. He said they'd like to show you what the Air Force can do. And I'm telling you, when they came through. They tore up all the red targets, left the green target standing, and I was like, and I mean, they were flying zoom, zoom like this.
Yeah.
These are the best of the best. So it kind of freaks me out to think that one of them in a helicopter hit a plane because I've seen them fly.
Right.
You've
It
seen
just
them
doesn't
in
make
motion.
sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, same with me. I'll never forget when I was at Killeen, Fort Hood, Texas. I don't even think they call it that anymore, by the way. But when I was in Killeen, stationed there, we were called up to go to Desert Shield, and we were prepping to go, and we were standing. We would go practice setting up our equipment. It's just part of it when you're getting ready to go to the desert. You go through all these motions of making sure you know what you're doing. It's kind of important. And but where we were bivouacking, it was near a canyon. So me and my buddy were just standing there talking, smoking a cigarette, got a little downtime and, not paying any attention. A lot of people don't know these helicopters have a silent mode. And so we're standing there and I didn't hear it until the rotors come up the canyon and the pilot, the turret of the gun is attached to his helmet.
Yeah.
So whichever way he looks is where that gun goes. Well, he pulls that. He comes out of that canyon, and we were shocked. And the first thing he does is look at the people, and that trigger, and I was like, yeah, we gonna die. It's all over, man.
Yeah, no.
Luckily, it wasn't. But
and to see how, they could do it. It was like surgery. Like they cut out the targets they didn't want to hit, and they left
their
the one.
precision.
It was and then they came back and they just raised the whole field. Like they were like, and one more time, and they came through, and I'm talking about it was just
leveled it.
They leveled the whole field, and I was like, holy crap! So when I hear these guys, like these guys that have their little AR-15s at home, and they play what is that, Game of Wars, Call of Duty,
Fortnite and whatnot.
Yeah, they're going, yeah, I got my, just in case the army comes for you. I'm like, yeah, you're fucked if the army
No,
comes for you,
man,
dog.
you don't understand.
They don't have no idea what you're
No,
doing.
you don't understand. That little pea shooter ain't gonna do it for
No,
you.
and they're sitting there talking about because they play Fortnite, and they think they're soldiers, and I'm like, no, these guys are trained killers, every one of them, man.
You might stop a couple fat deputies, but you ain't gonna, you ain't stopping the army or the Air
they're
Force,
coming
man.
for you, man.
All right, let's see. A mountain in New Zealand has received a human distinction. Mount Taranaki is considered an ancestor by indigenous people in the country. It's now been recognized as a legal person as of yesterday, when a law granted it all rights and responsibilities of a human being. The mountain joins a river and a stretch of sacred land in being recognized as legal people, a move made to acknowledge the theft of land by settlers from the Maori people.
What?
So the mountain is a person now.
It's now a person. Yeah.
You gotta pay
I know there's a couple people that look like mountains walking around now.
That's right. I know that's
I've
right.
seen them. One chick tried to get into an Uber, and now she's suing them.
I saw that because
Some
she was
mountainous
too
chick.
fat.
Oh, she was huge.
Yeah, no, dude,
Yeah.
I know 5 fat people. She's 3 of them.
Oh, she's 3 of them.
Yeah,
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 she's huge. Like, and then she's mad because the guy was like, "You ain't getting in my fucking car."
Well, man, listen. I mean, my shocks aren't rated for that. I'm sorry.
No,
I
and he told her that. I got bad tires, but you gonna just kill my car. And I mean, she was humongous.
Yeah.
And then people are like, "Oh, you're fat shaming." We should start fat shaming again because people are losing their minds.
Oh, well, I mean, look, you can get Ozempic now. Go ahead and get it. I mean, I don't know.
God.
Do something.
I mean,
but yeah, I don't know why.
The difference between an airport here in the United States and an airport in Europe is phenomenal because in Europe, if you're in the airport, you might see 4% obese people.
Oh, right.
Where here, it's like 45, 50% of the people who walk around the airport are just obese. And not just fat, obese.
Yeah. No, I'll never forget when I was probably, I don't know, I must have been close to 30, and I flew into Denver Airport, Denver International, and nice airport, real nice.
Oh, yeah.
But Denver's the fittest city in the country. Now, I'm from here, and, they have those moving sidewalks, and nobody uses them. Literally everybody at that airport was running with their luggage. I was the only fat ass on that moving sidewalk looking at all these people. And I'm like, they all look like OJ running down the, down the corridor. And I'm like, man, they really are fitting this place, aren't they?
It's crazy how in Europe, the girls all look like supermodels up until you marry them. Then they look like Americans. And they get fat as fuck.
Oh, no, man.
But I mean, it was amazing to think. And then, you walk through it in the airport here in the United States, and you're like, wow. Yeah, I'll go to Disney World. Walk around Disney World for about an hour and go, wow.
Yeah.
And they're not just big. They're
real big.
They're
they're big,
that.
big.
Yeah, and they're a drain on society. On our healthcare systems, and nobody seems to care.
No, I mean,
you can't shame them. They're still beautiful. No, they're not. Look.
I like when they started telling us they were fat but fit.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you're not.
No,
you're not.
I was 277 at one point when I was like,
I was 285.
I started drinking and partying hard, and then I gave up on working out and stuff, and I ballooned up 277. And one day I looked in the mirror and I was like, holy shit! And I was like, boom, that's it, I'm done. And at one point, you just got to tell yourself,
you got to take over.
You got to take care of yourself. And I just started eating right, and I'm down to 180 now, 188 now, and
I would like to get down to 180. I was getting close, and I put about 10 back on, but I'm gonna bring them back down again. And
I just lost the Christmas, New Year's weight though. That was I was gaining weight again.
Nah, it's hard not to.
There's no doubt. There's just so much good shit to eat at Christmas.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Trump says 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico are coming tomorrow. He hadn't decided if oil imports will be included. He said it would depend on the price of oil. He said we don't need the products Mexico and Canada have, and we have all the oil we need. Canada supplied half of oil imports in the U.S. in 23, Mexico 11%. Among the items that could see a jump in price, avocados, tomatoes, tequila, laptops, lumber, and vehicles and vehicle parts. Canada does supply electricity to some homes near the border. Costco workers, I guess, are getting ready to have fat wallets. The retail giant announced this week it's going to raise pay for most employees following contract talks with the union. Reports are Costco employees are at the top of the pay scale. They'll see their pay rise to $30.20 an hour, with an additional dollar increase coming in each of the next 2 years. Costco workers at the bottom of the scale are paid $20 an hour. That includes even non-union. Man, $20 an hour is the bottom of the barrel.
Oh, yeah, that's the bottom of the barrel.
That's the bottom of the barrel at
I'm gonna go
Costco.
apply at Costco when we
That's what I'm
leave here.
saying, man. I need a part-time job, I guess,
I'm
because
saying.
that's decent money.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is going on here. Many tourists that visit Scotland have no idea what haggis is, so locals mess with their heads. Yeah, don't eat it ever. Haggis is minced sheep's offal, oatmeal, suet, and spices. It's traditionally cooked in a sheep's stomach. However, I know that's right. For years, Scott's been telling visitors it's a small, funny creature. Now, thanks to AI, that joke's on the internet. There's a Haggis Wildlife Foundation that uses AI to generate synthetic pictures of haggis, and even a YouTube channel where David Attenborough, at least an AI version, narrates fake documentaries about the wild haggis. Thousands of people have bought into it, judging by the comments on the videos.
Yeah, no, haggis. Come on, man. No.
It's always weird, some of the things people eat.
Oh,
you know, when I was a kid, I ate things that now I look back at and I'm like, my mom used to. Now, understand, we were poor.
Yeah.
We were very poor growing up. So chicken livers, fried chicken livers was a big thing at my house.
Fantastic.
Huh?
I can't eat bologna, like fried bologna and eggs.
Oh, I don't love bologna at all.
Well, yeah, the reason I stopped eating bologna was I started reading ingredient packages. and
Yeah,
I
it's
started
got like
learning about
hooves
it,
and beaks.
But I
and-
can still, you fry some bologna, I might still just have to go snatch a piece just because.
Yeah.
I was telling someone the other day, we were driving through, from Florida, we're driving home from Disney World, the whole family, we stopped at a Shoney's. Remember Shoney's?
No, of course I do. The big
Yeah.
boy.
Right. So we stopped at Shoney's and they had a breakfast buffet. And on the buffet, they had fried bologna. And I thought, fuck yeah, I'm good. That's some ghetto shit, though. But I
Yeah.
love it.
No, I get it, man.
We were broke, too. So we had, my mom would occasionally make white rice with fried eggs. That was our dinner.
Okay.
And even now, to this day, I crave it. Like, I
Yeah.
gotta have it. I take the fried eggs, and there's something about the yolk and the white rice mixing together, and
Huh.
it's
That's
amazing.
interesting.
I love it.
I've never had that mixed together.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of poor people food. That's
Yeah.
not one of them.
Yeah. So white rice and fried eggs. When we had no money, that would be the dinner. And I mean, and now I make it myself.
Yeah, that's it. I used to. I've talked about it a few times here, but my mom for either breakfast or dessert, because those things were almost interchangeable at my house for some reason. But she would make something called milk toast, and it's as simple as it sounds. Take toast, break it up in a bowl, pour some warm milk and sugar on it, and that was milk toast.
Hell yeah.
And that's what we had,
Oh.
you know. And at that point, I liked it. you know.
Coffee and crackers.
Coffee and crackers.
Yeah, my mom would make coffee, put it in a bowl, sweet coffee, and then she would take non-saltine crackers, soda crackers, and then break them up in there, and it become this little porridge.
Like a
little-
pudding
Oh
inch.
my God! It's
Yeah.
So I still occasionally in the middle of the night will make it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's you know what, I've never had. That's interesting.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
kind of does sound good. I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie.
it's fantastic.
Be a good crust on a pie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like a pecan pie with that
Oh,
crust
oh,
might be
yeah.
good, man.
Oh, I'm
you should
telling
make that,
It's
man.
fantastic.
All right. Let me get to this. Now, look, I am told that you will hear this audio even if I don't, but I cannot put off the rant today. I need to get it in and get it done, so let's do it. All right, let's get to it. A study is coming to light from the UK's Department of Science, Innovation and Technology that Bluetooth-enabled sex toys are vulnerable to hackers. 4 years ago, hackers locked users into a chastity belt, demanded a ransom to unlock it, right? devices could be caused to overheat and hurt someone, and sensitive data could be stolen. Are you freaking kidding me? Well, Yankee my wanky. What the hell are we going to do? Somebody might hack your vibrator. You see, this is another shining example of the FBI failing. Hey, Agent Dick Cheese, what are you doing working on some bank fraud case when you could be stopping someone from hacking into Brandon's bodacious Bluetooth butt plug? Do you understand? They're stealing data. Now they probably know the exact dimensions of old Brando's cornhole. What if they just decide to use his prison pocket as an unauthorized storage unit? They probably also downloaded his Stretchin' the Salad Shooter playlist. Songs like Back in Black, Looking Out My Back Door, and the crowd favorite Dirty Back Road. And if you put on a chastity belt that can only be taken off via Bluetooth with no failsafe, it's probably best the hackers locked it. Let's face it, you're not smart enough to be reproducing. That's all we need. One more moron in the world. Here's an idea. I know it's insane. Don't connect your genitals to a computer at all. Next up, a judge has arraigned a woman who admitted to sending videos of her, quote, aggressively farting to her boyfriend's ex. Rhiannon Evans, 25, believed to be the first person to ever face charges for cyber farting. She sent the videos to the lady Deborah, who said they caused her distress and anxiety. She sent 3 videos on December 22nd, another 4 over the next few days. The prosecutor said each of these videos showed Miss Evans passing wind with her face, smiling at the camera. That's terrible. Are you freaking? This arrest had to be one of the proudest days in the history of the department. The day you brought down the Duchess of Digital Dutch Ovens, the FaceTime flatulator, the turd wind terrorist. Yeah, finally you cracked the case like she cracked a Christmas biscuit. Let me speak directly to the victim. Hello, Deborah. I hope you're now recovering from the trauma of being assaulted by this gorilla of the Grody grinder. And I know some people will tell you that calling the cops on someone sending you a fart video is really stupid. I want you to know that's untrue. No, ma'am, it's about half past stupid. Truth is, you're such an idiot. If the Catholic Church met you, they'd start promoting abortions. Your IQ is bound to be hovering just below that of an aloe vera plant. This woman sent you a grand total of 5 fantastic farts. That's it. I felt more harassed by spam from my own phone provider. I wish their text about referring a friend came with a video of a smiling lady letting Fluffy off the leash. That's 10 times more entertaining and way more likely to get me to think about doing business with you. Matter of fact, hell, if I hear a knock, answer the door, and there's a T-Mobile rep leg hiked and laying out a fine stream of butthole bass, I'm guaranteed to buy. You may not even have to say anything. I'll just grab whatever's in your hand, sign it, and say I'll take 2. Just own it. You're just a broke brain, weak stick bitch and need some help. Get it somewhere. And finally, great news for couples. I know you're looking for something super special for V-Day 2025. Well, thank God for the Hut. You can't out Pizza the Hut, right? Pizza Hut, bringing back the popular heart-shaped pizza to help celebrate Valentine's Day 2025. Now, the heart-shaped pizza is a hand-tossed heart-shaped pizza with a choice of 1 topping at a starting price of $11.99. The heart-shaped pizza available at all locations nationwide from February 11th to February 27th for a limited time. Now, isn't that romantic? Are you freaking? Let me tell you something. If you're thinking about snagging a heart-shaped pizza, let your girl know she's the love of your life, you may as well just take that same money, have the lady we just talked about send your girl a custom curated backdoor bean blower video. Just ask her to say, hey, so-and-so, happy Valentine's from Billy, followed by a nasty cheap ricker. Just, better yet, ask the lady just to put her stink whistle right on top of a jar and fill it full of farticles. Just unleash that ass NATO, screw the lid on, grab a Sharpie, draw a heart on it, have her ship it right to your girl. When she asks what it is, tell her it's the essence of your love. And then just watch her turn the top and relish the confusion on her face as that funk flees the glass cage. Oh, sweet love. Look, if you're just looking for a cheap way to end your relationship, fine. Do it. Order the heart-shaped pizza. But while you're on with Pizza Hut, go ahead and ask them if they can make you a pizza shaped like a hoo-ha, because that's the only one you're going to get near if you do this. And pro tip, go ahead and let it cool down some, because going to the ER with a burned beef stick with melted cheese on it is going to be a little bit hard to explain. But happy Valentine's Day, bitches. All right, man. What's going on, man? That's how I had
Good
to do it.
Lord.
That's how I have to do it, man. Man, how crazy is it that this lady literally called the police because a lady sending her fart videos?
I think there's guys that pay for that on OnlyFans.
Yeah,
now,
hell
like,
yeah, there are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
they'll pay
guys
for
that
a lot of
for it.
things on OnlyFans.
Like, yeah,
man.
baby, just fart. For
Yeah,
me
I'm
one
pretty
time.
sure you could just, put in the search engine in OnlyFans margarine and goat, and something's going to come up for you. You know what I mean? It's going to pop up. Yeah, I don't know what it'll be, but it's going to come up.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
But
wild.
the vibrators and stuff that people are
Hacking into?
that's
What,
crazy.
what are you going to do when you hack in? Listen? You're going to hear my O-face
I
sound?
mean, what is it gonna
That's the
do?
only-
Like, why?
Malice.
Why
Yeah,
would you
they're
do it?
bored.
Like, I'm so bored.
Hackers are
I'm
bored.
just gonna figure out what to do with this vibrator.
Like, isn't there something on the dark web for hackers to go play with?
I mean, honestly, our genitals have been attached to our computers for years, but now
No,
physically.
not physically, right? Yeah,
We've
no,
been
no,
using
they,
the computer
they
for
definitely
years.
tied to it. Yeah.
Hell yes.
It's your penis has seen a lot of blue light.
Oh yes, yes. I got that special sock right next to my computer.
The
Are you
crunchy
kidding?
one?
Yeah, the crunchy one.
I know the
Yeah.
crunchy sock. Yeah, yeah. I remember when my boys. I've raised two boys. They're adults now, but I remember telling Laura, "Listen, if you see a sock that looks crunchy, leave it alone.
Yeah.
Just don't mess.
touch
That's
it.
not
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Okay, leave
Yeah.
it alone.
You let them clean that.
Yeah, you let them handle that business, man. You go ahead and let them do it. I saw this this morning, and I don't believe it. You tell me what you think, man. But it says romance is one of the most popular book genres. We all know that. I mean, it has been forever. New research says the idea it's mostly women doing the reading is wrong. Men, according to this, are bigger fans of romance novels than women. Let me just stop right there.
Bullshit.
Say
Bullshit.
Have you
I call
ever
bullshit.
in your life, tell me one time that your buddy said, "Man, have you read this new romance novel, man?"
I'd smack them right in the face.
We probably wouldn't be friends anymore.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
no.
"No, bro, I can't hang
I'd
out
say,
with
let
you.
me see it.
Are
Yeah.
you really reading that book with Fabio on the cover?
Right.
What are you talking to me for, man? Why don't you just come on out of the closet, bro?"
No,
I
I mean, if it said whores of Westchester County, I might try it, because it says whores.
yeah,
But
right.
I'm not reading nothing magically.
No, I'm not reading any of these
No.
romance. I mean,
No.
I guess if that's your bag, fine. But I don't. It's like, dude, how many dudes do you know sitting around watching soap operas other than wrestling?
Yeah, no.
Well, wrestling's kind of a soap opera. It's kind of a man
right.
soap opera. I mean,
He's
if I'm to be
right.
honest with you,
Yeah.
it's a
But
good
yeah,
one though. It's a
no,
good one.
I call bullshit on that. That's
Yeah,
not true.
no, it doesn't make sense at all. What is something, Alex, you would say that you do, or is that maybe a hobby or an interest that others might be surprised by?
I'm a Buddhist.
You're a Buddhist.
Yeah, so I do the whole chanting. I do the whole
The
incense.
Om
I
and-
have the bell. I actually have one, the little Tibetan bell.
Really?
I have one in my room right now at the house, and I'll bring it and do my breathing exercises and stuff
So-
like that.
Buddhism is really interesting, but a lot of people don't really know what it's about. You
Yeah.
know, in short terms, if someone didn't really understand what Buddhism is, can you?
What attracted me to it was it's about compassion to
Mhm.
everybody.
Yeah.
It's about loving everyone else more than I love myself, and it was getting rid of all the negative things in my heart,
Mhm.
And there's this Buddhist exercise you do where you see this storm. You're sitting in front of a lake and it has a gray clouds, and you take the 5 biggest problems in your life: hate, anger, self-doubt, and you put them. You take them and you're visually seeing them as paper on a paper. You put the words on paper, and then you fold the paper up, put it on a little boat, like a little paper boat, and you watch it go into the clouds,
Mhm.
each one. And then once all 5 of them are gone, then you meditate, and the sun comes out and the clouds go away, and it's kind of a way of getting rid of all those things. It's all about enlightenment. I'm trying to find
a higher state of being.
Yeah, higher state of being, exactly.
Yeah,
And once
absolutely.
you start to read the stories and the Yamaleshi and all these stuff, you start to realize that these guys they're onto something.
No, I think Buddhism is pretty amazing. I think it's a really great Eastern philosophy that
Yeah.
more people should look into. I
Right.
mean, it's about peace. It's about well-being. It's about being your best self and,
Yeah,
and shedding the negative.
those kind of things I'm into. I read all the time. I'm a constant reader. I
Yeah.
love to read all the time.
When did you love reading as a kid?
Yeah, well, it started with comic books.
Yeah, me too, man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Come on with
absolutely.
that.
It
He was a
started with
smart
that.
ass. Made me laugh.
Yeah, and then once I started reading Spider-Man, you got to the Avengers, and then you got introduced to Thor and Hercules and all these characters. And then I started reading Greek mythology and
Right.
Norse mythology because I was like, oh, who is this Hercules guy? Who is this?
It's
Zeus?
Thor, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Thor.
Zeus.
So I started reading those books, and once I read Jason and the Argonauts, I was done.
Yeah.
Then I started to read the Odyssey, and I'm a voracious reader. I have the
Yeah.
Odyssey, the Iliad at home, and I read
Little
them.
Homer.
Yeah, Homer, exactly. And I started reading that as a kid, and by the time I'm in my 20s, 30s, I'm well read, and I'm always reading. I have a new book right now, and I just read a book called The Four Rules. It's an amazing book. It teaches you the 4 rules of life to help you get through it and shit.
Is
It's-
it by the same guy that wrote the 4 Agreements?
Yeah, 4 Agreements.
Yeah, okay.
That's a
okay.
great book.
Yeah.
Have you read it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now I've also been a big reader. My mom was an author, and so reading was probably the number one thing
Yeah.
in my house that was focused on, and books were involved in almost everything. Even believe it or not, even punishment.
Yeah.
If we did things that my dad didn't like, he would often have us copy pages from the dictionary
Right.
or things that somehow would make me read or learn
Right.
while I was doing it.
That's
you
great.
know.
That's a great punishment.
It was. The other thing that they would do was if me and my brother got into an argument, they would make us pick a subject, go research it, come back and do a debate for them.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Damn, that's cool. My parents let us beat the shit out of each other.
I would have
You guys
rather.
put on the fucking gloves and go in the backyard.
Yeah, no, that would have been great.
The last man standing is the winner.
No, that would have been great. No, that did not happen. That did
No,
not
yeah,
happen.
The 4 Agreements is a great book, and and it's funny because my wife is very high strung. Like she gets angry, and it's over. It can be the smallest thing in the world that gets
Yeah.
her angry, and she's done. She's over
Yeah.
the fucking deep edge, and
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there like, I'm like, whatever, you'll get over it. She wants to argue, scream, and I'll just sit there and smile, and it drives her fucking ape shit.
Well, how do you, when you're under fire like that, because I have a Latino wife, and
Me too.
she is fiery,
Yeah.
and you know what I'm saying already.
Yeah.
My wife's from Costa Rica, and so how do you weather that storm and stay quiet?
I try and I stay calm. I never raise my voice. At this point, I just kind of, when you're done, I'll be right here. And she's just screaming and yelling, and the kids are, terrorized, and I'm just sitting there with my little bell going,
She's like, I'm gonna kumbaya your ass.
Oh, she said one time she wanted to hit me with a brick because she got into an argument in the morning, and I said, I'm gonna go do some breathing exercises, and I went downstairs, and I have a little mat that I sit on, and I'm sitting there with the incense, and I'm breathing, and she's walking, and I could hear her walking
hear the
past me,
pace,
and I'm just sitting there, and I finally come out of it after about 25 minutes. She goes, I was gonna hit you with a fucking brick, and I was like, you really need to start chanting.
You really need some help
Like, yeah,
somewhere.
you need to start chanting or something because you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah, man. I started reading, and I love all of the classics too. My favorite of the classics was always The Scarlet Letter. But later, as I got into my teen years, I really got into Stephen King.
Oh, Stephen King was amazing. As a
Yeah,
reader.
and
The movies don't do anything compared to the book.
The only one that's ever made it for me that was really good is Shawshank Redemption,
Oh,
and
that
that's
was
based
great.
on a short
Yeah,
story.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, short
it's the
story.
best movie ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost undebatable at this point. I mean, at least for men, you can't. There's no man I know on the planet who, if you were flipping channels and Shawshank's on, doesn't matter if it's the beginning, middle, or end. You're done.
Yeah.
You put the remote down. It's done. It's over.
I'll tell you what,
I'd
I
love
was
to
a
tell you,
nurse
Andy bought the good
working
fight.
at a nursing home, and I was reading It.
Oh yeah.
Right, and I'm reading this book, It, and it's 3:00 in the morning. Everybody's asleep in this nursing home, and I'm reading this book with this lady. She's fucking crazy. I guess she was into what they call Santeria,
Yeah.
which is like a
like a
in
voodoo.
Puerto Rico, yeah. And she was into Santeria. She was a Santeria priest, and it drove her insane. So she's laying in her bed. I'm reading this book, and Pennywise the clown is about to get into these fucking kids' asses, and I'm, the hair on the back of my neck is starting to stand up. This bitch lets out this fucking blood curdling scream at 3:00 in the morning. fucking book goes flying. I fall out of the chair. Blah, 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 I run into the room, and I'm like, the fuck is wrong with you? She goes, there's a black man under my bed sticking me with needles. And I, like, back up and look under the bed to see if there's actually a black man. No black man, of course. She's fucking screaming. So it's my only, as a nurse, if you make a medication mistake, you'll make one. And
Yeah.
you'll never do it again because now you're triple checking everything, right? So
Right.
she had Thorazine that was like, PRN as needed. So I went and drew up the vial and I fucking jammed her with it and she went, "Ah!" And I was like, fuck. And I look and I give her double the dose.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was like 25 mil. I give her 50 milligrams and she just went out.
Sleepy time.
So now the rest of the night, I'm sitting next to her, just poking her every once in a
Just
while.
making sure you don't have to hit her
Right,
with some
right,
adrenaline.
just like putting my hand in front of her face. And when the other nurse comes in at 7 o'clock in the morning, I go, I fucked up. She goes, what's wrong? I said, I gave her double the dosage of Thorazine. And she goes, oh, thank you. I'm not going to hear from that bitch all day today.
That's great. She's going to sleep all
Yeah,
day.
Stephen King books and then Anne Rice I read as a kid. I like those, the Interview with the Vampire books. Yeah. And I've always loved reading. It's my favorite pastime.
I did. It's been 3 or 4 years now. I've written a couple things that I published, but I did. I had the story that I wrote, and I couldn't publish it as a book because it wasn't my material, so to speak. Because I had this idea. I wanted to take Jigsaw from the Saw franchise, right, and have him capture all of the iconic horror characters.
Oh, shit.
And put them in one setting where they had to fight their way out.
Wow.
And so I did the story as instead I wrote it and then did it as a podcast, and it was a really good one, because he had Jason, he had Michael Myers, he had Pennywise,
Of course.
he had Chucky, he had all these different people in there, and it was
That sounds
really
like
good.
a movie I'd go watch.
It was a
watch.
good story. It was a good story, but I knew it wasn't. I couldn't copyright it and print it because I was going to get smashed for taking those characters that didn't belong to me. So
then I got into Graham Hancock. Right?
Yeah.
So Graham Hancock wrote this book called Fingerprints of the Gods. I must have read it 30 years ago. It freaking lit up a fire under me because he was talking about the beginnings of civilization. He talks about a Q religion that started all the religions, how they all came from one. And then he turned me on to, when I read Dan Brown's the Da Vinci Code.
Oh, yeah.
The people who were reading a book called Holy Blood, Holy Grail were suing him because they said he took their idea.
Okay.
And so when I found that book, Holy Blood, Holy Grail, it fucked me up forever. I had to read Elaine Pagels, The Beginnings of Christianity, and it sent me into a whole nother tangent of reading. So now Elaine Pagels, Graham Hancock, Michael Crichton, these guys, they're just amazing writers.
Yeah. let me throw one at you that is random, and you probably haven't. But I read a book the first time I started reading it. At that point, I would say I was more traditionally religious, I guess, if you would, and I felt conflicted about it, so I put it down. I'd gotten about maybe 2-3 chapters in it, and I felt like, I don't know, something's wrong here, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't stop. So I said, let me try it again. Let me try to look at it differently. And when I did, I was like, man, this is amazing. It's a book by a guy named Neil Donald Walsh called Conversations with God, an Uncommon Dialogue. Yeah. And allegedly, he says that, God channeled him to write this, right? And it's not him writing it, it's God. I don't know if that's true or not. But I do know that the first book, at least, is fascinating. And I think based on some of the things you're telling me, you would enjoy that.
I'm that guy. Gnostic Gospels. I have the Nag Hammadi scriptures at home.
Yeah.
The Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah, check
all
that out.
stuff.
Look up Conversations with God. His
I will
name's
definitely
Neil
do that.
Donald Walsh. And real odd guy, and it could be a lie. I don't know. But the concepts in it are still good concepts. And they're really fascinating.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the chapters is, why did Hitler go to heaven? And which is really a controversial thing to say, right? I mean, it sounds antithetical to everything you might think.
Yeah.
But I think that's where I probably the first time put the book down and said, wait a minute, I'm not going to buy that. But then when I went back and I read it, I was like, man, Okay, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah,
I see what you're
that's the
saying.
thing about
It's
reading
deep.
that I like the most is when it lights that light in the back of your head that goes, and you go, wow.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's cool.
Yeah, when I read, you're talking about Stephen King, when I read The Stand,
Oh,
and I still think to this day, I've never read a book that's better at character development than
yeah.
The Stand. It's
That's
a
great.
slower read, but the characters are so amazingly
a
well
great
developed,
book.
and they've tried to make a movie out of it 2 or 3 times, and
Yeah.
they've failed every time.
The miniseries.
Yeah,
They can't just make a
They
movie.
even got Idris Elba involved
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a Stephen King book and couldn't make it work.
The Gunslinger.
Yeah, and it was a very poor adaptation
Yeah.
of The Dark Tower.
I'll tell you, The Dark Tower is a great series.
It's a phenomenal
Fantastic,
series.
Yeah.
It's very
But
dark,
The
as the
Stand
name implies.
may be one of my favorite Stephen King books ever. It's an amazing book.
It is my favorite
Yeah.
of his, and it's definitely, a matter of fact, it's probably real close to my favorite of all time.
Yeah,
It's like The Shawshank Redemption as a movie.
Yeah.
That is as a
And
book
that's the
to
thing
me.
is, if you read this short story, The Shawshank Redemption, and
Yeah.
they turned it into a freaking stellar movie.
Yeah, stellar movie.
Then they take these great big books and turn them into
Crap.
garbage.
Yeah, into
I mean,
crap.
Cujo.
Well, yeah, you could take the little story and you could expand on
Right.
it and make it good. They even made a joke, because in the short story version, Red, who's played by Morgan Freeman in Shawshank, is actually a tall Irish guy.
Yeah.
And they make fun of that in the movie. He goes, "What did you expect, a tall Irish man?"
Right. Yeah.
What a great movie.
Yeah.
I'd love to tell you Andy fought the good fight and the sisters let him be, but prison is no fairy tale world.
Yeah. There's no.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah, no. What a great another one of your favorite movies, man?
Movies?
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
I'm into all the the sci-fis, of course. Like all sci-fi. Like I'm
Yeah.
a Star Wars. I'm
Okay.
a Terminator freak. I like all the sci-fi movies. Anything that has to do with, sci-fi. And then I'm a scary movie.
Me
fan.
too, man. Me too.
I like scary movies.
I do
like,
as well.
And the thing is, I can't find a movie to scare me. Because I watch them and I can see everything coming because I've seen so many.
It sometimes, they're fun, and I love them all, even the bad ones most
Yeah.
of the time.
Yeah.
But there's a formula in a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's hard to get shocked
Right.
by them.
Yeah, when you can see a character and go like that, she's about to die.
Yeah,
naked,
no, she's
naked in her
definitely gonna
panties,
die.
having
Yeah,
sex.
you know
yeah,
what's gonna
it's
happen.
gone. She's
Yeah,
gone.
no, you
So
know.
yeah, but I love watching movies, comedies, of course, and any. I love watching all movies. I don't really, but my genre is sci-fi.
Yeah, in sci-fi, I guess the two at the top of the list for me. Now, of course, I love Star Wars, Star Trek,
Yeah.
all the classics, But really, if I'm just going to sit down and put something in, it's probably going to be Aliens,
Aliens is fantastic.
the second one,
yeah.
not the first one.
And the Dune series is a book. I mean, I read Dune's, Children of Dune, the
Yeah.
whole thing. Fantastic. And then the first movie I thought was much better than the remakes.
The new one.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. It's hard for me to find remakes that are better most of the time, especially if you're remaking 80s movies.
What?
Because they have a camp and a spirit to them you can't get.
But the new the way they broke it up into two, as opposed to the first one was just the one long movie.
Yeah.
It was on TV. It was like a mini series kind of
Yeah.
thing, The new the kid that plays Pennywise, that Alexander.
Oh, yeah,
Skarsgård,
he's great.
Oh my God.
No, he's really, really good.
and to watch it, I thought that was probably the best remake I've seen.
Yeah, I'll go with that versus
Yeah.
Tim Curry in
Yeah.
the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could go with that. But you look at Total Recall when they remade that. It's
no.
trash.
Yeah.
I like Colin Farrell. I
Yeah.
do. It's trash. Most of those remakes there's even the. I think the new Star Wars movies are kind of trash. I mean, yeah, they're good. They're well made. They're
Yeah.
well produced, but they're just clones of the original stuff,
Yeah, same story rehashed in a
Yeah.
different way.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new Penguin?
No, but I want to. With Colin Farrell, the
You
series.
gotta watch
Man, I want
that.
to real bad.
Oh my God,
I hear it's so good.
It's so.
I hear it's
good.
kind of on a Sopranos level.
It's crazy how good it is. Like once you're watching it, you're like, what the hell? And when it was over, the first season was over. I was like, I'm ready. Let's do it again.
Let's do this, yeah.
Come on, let's go second season. And they're saying that if they can't make the second season as good as the first season,
They
they're not
won't
gonna
do it. Yeah.
It's that good.
I was so excited when Netflix rolled out Daredevil, and that was really
That was
good. And
excellent.
I'll tell you what, the the actor who plays the Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
He is a tour de force,
Oh,
man.
amazing.
I mean, he is
Ever
just
since
so
Full Metal
good.
Jacket.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He's been amazing ever since.
And he's a big guy, too. He's like
Yeah.
6'4", 6'5", you
Yeah.
know. But I think that whole series is so well done. The Punisher, well done.
Punisher was another good one.
Yeah.
Iron Fist sucked donkey dick.
That's what everybody says. That is what a big
It
green
was
one.
horrible.
Big green donkey dicks,
Yeah.
they say.
I mean, I even liked
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage
I
was
love Luke
fantastic.
Cage. Man, they had the first bad guy on there. What was it? Wasn't Cottonmouth. It was something like that. The snake name. Was it Cottonmouth? Okay.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
He was great. He was such a great
Oh,
villain.
and now that's a good series. And then they come up with Iron Fist, and you're like,
Yeah.
I can't wait, Iron Fist. And you're
Yeah,
sitting there
you're like,
going,
what
why
is
the
this guy?
fuck am
What
I
is this dude
Now, you know what
about?
surprised me, though, was the Wanda and Vision.
Oh, okay.
WandaVision.
Yeah.
It was the first episode. I'm sitting there going, what the fuck am I watching? Like, what is this? And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. And by the third episode, I was hooked. Like,
Yeah.
I could not stop watching it.
Yeah.
And to see them bring the way they brought Vision back at the end, how they recreated it so the Vision is back in the MCU, I thought these fucking guys are geniuses.
They
But
really are smart.
I was sitting there watching it, the first episode, going, what the fuck is going on? And then they turned it, like, every one of them was a different kind of, like, even they had one that was like The Office.
Yeah.
They had one episode was like The Office, where they were talking to the camera, and, you know,
That's
Vision just
funny.
kind of looks down and goes, what the fuck am I doing? He takes the microphone off him. It was done really well. But it confused me at first because I didn't know what was going on, you know. But I ended up enjoying the shit out of it.
Man, yeah, no, absolutely. It's such an amazing group of performances in general on that. You know, I love a lot of different sci-fi though. I mean, I really do. What kind of other things do you have that are hobbies or interests that you do? Other
I'm
than
a scuba
comedy?
diver.
You're a scuba diver.
Yeah, I'm a scuba diver.
Where have you scuba at?
Oh my God, I learned in Cozumel, but I've been scuba diving in Turks Caicos, in Okinawa. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, I'm waiting to get to Australia to the Great Barrier Reef.
To the Great Barrier Reef?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Now,
to
have
do
you
that.
done Tulum? I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the second largest Great Barrier Reef,
yeah.
and man, that's a great one. If you've
Oh
never
yeah,
done
you
it,
scuba dive?
I don't scuba, but I did snorkel it. But
Yeah.
I'd like
No,
to. I was, you know, when I went, I was honestly, I didn't want to scuba. I did, but I didn't want to get in a suit because I'm like, you know, you just don't look good as a fat guy in a scuba suit, y'all. I mean, it's just not a good look.
No,
you know?
I when I first tried it, I was in Cozumel, and I went to they have like this half-hour class they give you, and it's just an intro into scuba diving. And I got in the water, and you know, people, because it's a strange thing to breathe underwater. It's just, you have to, like, your mind has to get into the control that I got this. I'm breathing underwater,
Yeah.
but you're underwater, and a lot of people panic. You see them ripping the mask off and jumping out of the water and shit. And I got in the water, and the instructor looked at me and said, "You're a fucking natural. Go over there. Go over there." I'm gonna work with these people, and I was just kind of floating around. It's like flying. It's like flying in the water. It's the
I
coolest
bet it is.
fucking thing.
I tell people who, you know, because sometimes people who haven't, you know, snorkeled or been to the ocean, and there's just a surprisingly large number of people.
Yeah.
And I tell them, you know, I never saw colors until I was underwater in the ocean, because the colors there are the most vivid, bright, deep colors you'll ever see.
No,
No,
so-
you
and
can't.
And-
No, there's not. You're right, Chad. There's not a resolution.
There's a spot in Turks Caicos where you go scuba diving, and it drops off. It just drops off into blackness.
Wow.
And they're telling you, don't go that way, because if you go down there, you're never coming back. You know, and as you're swimming, you're like, everything here is all colorful and beautiful and all these.
And it's
little-
dark.
And then you look to the side of you, and it goes into the abyss.
Yeah.
And you're like, and it just drops off. Like, it's like a mountainside, just drops right off.
Yeah.
And as I'm swimming, I'm going, man, I want to go down there.
I
I want to go down there.
Man, I
see what's
remember
down there.
when we same time that we snorkeled the reef. We right before that we went to a cenote and snorkeled there. And but this one had a bunch of underwater caverns, and that's what they said. Do not.
Yeah.
Do not go down there.
Yeah.
He said, you know, people that go down there to dive, he said the scuba divers, first of all, they're tethered.
Right.
He said, but even that doesn't guarantee you'll make
No.
it back. He said
That's-
a lot of people have died down there.
Yeah, I've done like the wrecks, the shipwrecks and stuff like that, but I'm definitely going cave diving.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You want to do that?
Hell
See, it
yeah.
makes me real nervous.
Yeah, no, I love it.
No, I made a mistake the other day, and occasionally I'll do it, and I watched The Descent 2, the sequel to The Descent. And man, I forget how claustrophobic I am until I watch that, and they're trying to squeeze through those caverns. I'm like, I'll kill myself just in the tight spot.
Right.
There's no doubt I'll kill
No,
myself.
when I was a firefighter, they have this thing.
Man, what have you not done? That's what I was going to say.
Well, I joined the Army at 18 and became a combat medic and a nurse. So then I started working as a nurse in Chicago, and then one of my friends from the Army lived in East Chicago, Indiana, and he was a firefighter. And he said, "Hey, man, you should come take the test." And I was like, "I don't want to be a firefighter. Why would I do that?"
Mhm.
And he said, "Man, come and take the test." So I went. I signed up. I took the test, and I got hired. I became number 2 on the list. So I got hired immediately.
Okay.
So I was like, "Well, fuck it, I'll give it a try." But they got this thing called a smoke maze, and what it is like 4 truck trailers put together with holes, and they have sliding doors. So it's never the same combination. Like you have to crawl through in the darkness.
Okay, I
know,
got you. Like
it's-
you're simulating the smoke and the
right.
darkness.
You can't
of the fire.
see shit in the fire. Like when I was a kid, before I became a firefighter, one of my favorite movies was Backdraft. Until I became a firefighter, then I was like, that guy's fucking dead. That guy's fucking
dead.
dead.
That guy's dead.
That guy's dead. Yeah. So, but there's this smoke maze, and it's never the same twice. They open up like you got to go up, down, sideways. You got to find your way out from one end to the other. And like I said, sliding doors, so it's never the same twice. The first time I went through it, I come out the other end, and I was like, that was the coolest fucking thing I ever did in my life. Can't do it again. But some of the guys, like Leon Cherry was his name, he was in there screaming. Yeah, like screaming, "Get me the fuck out of here!" Just kicking the doors. They had to open it up and get him out. But
So you just felt it immediately felt interesting.
Yeah, it
and
was
fun
the
to you. You were
coolest fucking
comfortable.
thing ever. Yeah, I was crawling through the smoke, and because they'll fill it with smoke, and you got the mask on, and you got tanked up, and you're like you have to feel your way around to figure out how to get through. Because when you're in the fire, you can't see anything. The
Right.
smoke fills the room. You're in blackness. So to do search and rescue, you have to do a pattern in a room. You do the square around it, and then you do an X, and then you come across. So you look, you search.
So you get
you
every
make sure you
quadrant.
score every quadrant of that room. So
Yeah.
that's how you do it. But the smoke maze, that got me hooked. The scariest thing we did was they take the ladder truck, the aerial ladder, and they put it out at a 70-degree angle, and they extend it all the way out, which is like 150 fucking feet, straight out like this at 70 degrees. And you have to climb up to the top of this thing and hold on for 30 seconds. And the wind, it's waving
Swaying
like
in
this.
the wind.
It's swaying in the wind.
Whoa.
And you're up there. Those are the longest 30 seconds of your
Oh
fucking
yeah,
life.
no,
You're like,
that would be it.
yeah. Oh, that's the scariest thing ever. But once I started firefighting, I was like, yo, this is cool. Because the only thing was I didn't want to move up. I liked being a firefighter on the back of the engine. They were like, "You want to drive the rig?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." Because the driver doesn't get to go in the building.
Okay,
The chauffeur
you want to
doesn't
go
the
in?
building.
Yeah,
I want to go in. That's
Yeah.
what I'm here for. And so they would like, well, if you drive this, you got a chauffeur, then you can move up to captain. I'm like, I don't want to
I'm
be captain.
good. Yeah.
I like being the guy in the back of the rig that jumps in, and I'm the first fucking guy in. Let's
Yeah.
do this.
Let's go. Yeah.
And so one time, my chief, he looks at me and he says, "You can make $40 extra a day to drive." I said, "I'll give you $50 a day. Leave me the fuck alone." But it was my favorite part was going in the building and but the problem with firefighting was that, and I love firefighters, they're heroes, they're fucking awesome. But after a while, if they've been on the job for 30 years, they become the biggest fucking pussies you ever met in your life. They cry about everything.
Yeah.
They cry because they're sitting in that room for 24 hours, and sometimes there's nothing to do.
Right.
So
So they're kind of
yeah,
bored and
bored,
busybodies.
busybodies. They got, and I'm like, just leave me the fuck alone. I'm here with my PlayStation in the room. Something burns, call me. Until something burns, leave me alone.
Yeah.
But there were certain things you had to do: test the hose and test the hydrants and stuff like that. And there was some guys just become these huge fucking women. It's ridiculous. But going in the building, and that was one of the other problem was that when I was having a good day, somebody else was having the worst day of their life.
Right.
Because the only time it was any fun for me was when I was fighting fire.
Yeah.
And then, you come out the fire and
see
think,
the
that was the
after
coolest fucking thing ever. And there's a whole family there wrapped in blankets eating fucking
Yeah.
Red Cross. And you're thinking, oh, I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
And then I found 2 kids in the closet, and I was like, okay, I'm done.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that
was
had
it.
to be tough right
Yeah,
there,
it was
man.
it for
That,
me.
that,
They were
that
about
had
the
to be
same
tough.
age as my boys at
Oh,
the time, and I
yeah.
walked out, and I thought, yeah, I can't do
I
this
can't
anymore.
do this anymore.
and,
Yeah. How long were you a firefighter?
10 yeyears.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And
Wow,
then I
man.
quit because that's when I won Showtime at the Apollo, and then we were supposed to get a TV show with Burlstein and Gray and P Diddy, and it fell through at the last minute. But once
Probably
I thought
better for you now.
yeah, but I still,
probably best.
I would have took the TV.
You
show,
still
I
would
ain't
have
gonna
took the lube and the
lie.
Diddy
Hell
party.
yeah,
Yeah.
hell yeah. But it was funny because I walked into the fire department thinking I got a TV show. Fuck you, motherfuckers! I'm
out.
And then,
I'm out.
And then it didn't happen.
Oh, no,
So, but
no.
no.
It's funny you mentioned how much you like that. It was weird when, and I don't know, me and my friend were just stupid and crazy, but when we went through basic, and I'm sure you remember the gas chamber.
Oh yeah.
You go through the gas chamber and they make you take off the mask and you got to, breathe in the gas and you got to rattle off whatever they tell you to rattle off.
No, Social
And when
Security number, whatever it is.
so
Yeah,
rank,
yeah.
name,
Rank,
social
name, rank,
security
social
number,
security
your
yeah.
platoon, all that. And meanwhile, every orifice you have is oozing something.
Oh, dude, all the snot in your body
Everything
falls out.
You want to clear? You want to clear your sinuses?
That'll
do it. But I want to tell you, man, that we snuck back. The third time we were about to go in, the drill sergeant said, "Wait a minute, hadn't you guys already come through before?" I was like, "Yes, drill sergeant, we have." He goes, "What the? This is not Disney World. It's not a ride. Get out of here, man." But we were crazy. It was. I don't know. We just thought it was the craziest
we
thing
had
to do.
one guy. He freaked out. Little guy. He was itty bitty dude. Gay as the $3 bill. He was fucking queer as shit. And his name was Lattimore. And it would be funny because they'd be like calling out names. They say Lattimore. He'd go, "Here, Sergeant." So we all knew he was gay as shit. So we get into the fucking drive, and he was about 5'4", maybe 5'5", topping out, maybe weighed 104 pounds, 105 pounds, and he freaks out in the fucking inside the gas chamber, and he just. I mean, he picked up a drill sergeant and threw him to the side.
Really?
Running out. Yeah, he came
It's amazing
flying
what
out.
fear will do
Oh,
with
yeah.
adrenaline.
I mean, he's a little bitty guy, and I mean, they were trying to. He was knocking people out
like
the way.
a halfback.
And then he ran out, and for some reason, I don't know why they did this at Fort Knox. They had a tree right outside the fucking gas chamber.
Oh no! And he
So
headlong
he
into it, knocked himself
right,
out.
Bang! Right into it, went out, and that was. I guess that was part of the program was. Yeah, you run out of here, fucker. This is what's gonna happen
that's
to
what's
you.
gonna happen. You're gonna eat tree.
Yeah. So no, but it was the gas chamber was one of those moments where you're like, Alex Ortiz, eat to and that's all you got out of it.
Yeah, then you're throwing up in your helmet outside.
And you're throwing
crazy.
water in your face trying to get that shit out.
It's brutal, man.
Oh,
I remember it was, I'd gotten out of basic in my secondary training. They called it AIT then, but I'd probably only been out for a couple months and gotten a scrap, and this dude's girl sprayed me with some pepper spray or some mace. I guess it was mace CS, And I just looked at her and said, "Bitch, if that's the best you got, you better go get something else because that ain't going to do nothing to me."
No.
I done been through the gas chamber. That ain't nothing. I'm sorry. But, I've suffered real pain. And we had a guy, the worst I ever saw a guy catch it was, God love him. It's just one of those things that happen in the moment. But, we had, we would get a grenade expert for grenades at that time. They don't do that anymore. But you could be, a marksman.
You had all those 3 badges underneath the marksman
and
thing.
so, I was that was the one thing, I was good with the rifle, but not good enough to be an expert. I was just the marksman, but I wanted, at least one expert. And so grenades was it. But this other guy, and he was kind of small like that guy. Man, he pulled it and he threw the damn pin over the top of the brick wall and dropped the grenade. And let me tell you something, that drill sergeant got that grenade, threw it over that wall just in time. Man, that dude caught it so bad. I ain't ever seen nobody catch it like that, man. He caught half a beat down right there.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't even give a damn, man. All the Army stuff was out the window like that.
No, we had a guy on the range shooting, and he turned his gun. He turned his weapon like this and started turning, and the drill sergeant kicked him right in the fucking helmet. Blam! As hard as he could. Pointing the fucking weapon down range. What the hell is wrong with you? Because he was like, It's something wrong with mine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just jammed or something. And he's still hitting the fucking thing.
Yeah, right.
Pull tap. all that
Yeah,
bullshit.
right. Yeah.
Oh my God! So he got kicked right in the helmet. And then the one time we were first time we went out to the range, they were telling us, "You think this helmet's gonna save your life? This helmet. You think this helmet is bulletproof? It's gonna save your life? It's okay." So they start firing bullets. They start firing, and they take the helmet and they throw it out, and it bounces. Bullets are flying, it bounces, and it comes back, and there are holes. This fucking everywhere. And you're going, okay. So when you're low crawling, your face is in the sand now. You're going, I'm not gonna get hit this time, because they're shooting over your head as you're going to the obstacle course.
Yeah, we did that, and they did it at night where they had the tracer rounds going over you and all that.
Cool.
That is cool, isn't it? That, you kind of look up and go, all things aside, this is pretty dope. This is the cooler part of it. And there were a lot of parts that weren't cool.
Yeah.
But like shooting a shoulder-fired missile, that was cool.
That was cool.
At that time, it was the law, the light anti-tank weapon, and that was the coolest thing. I'd love to shoot one of those right now.
Oh, man, that thump.
Yeah, coming out of that shoot, just that sound, and boom,
and then you and I mean the ground shook. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
no, it's great, man. Did you guys when you were what years were you in?
83 to 90.
Okay, you would have been there then. So you remember, because I was talking to my son. He also was in the military now, and he's out now, but he was in the Guard. And I was asking about the MOP suit for chemical warfare.
Man, MOP suit.
And it's all different now.
Yeah.
When we were in, man, that thing was nothing but a big rubber suit.
Big rubber
and it
green
was the
suit.
hottest thing you've ever put on in your
God.
life. Like you would sweat, you take your boot and pour it out, and it just sweat roll out.
And they'd make you wear it and PT in it.
Oh
Like,
yeah, we
we're
had
gonna do
to,
some
in our
exercise.
road march.
Yeah.
We did a 20 or 15. It was supposed to be 15. Ended up being they got lost. 21 miles, and we did 4 miles of it in MOP 4.
Yeah.
And you're just
MOP
guys are just
4.
falling out, bro.
Like nowadays, you say MOP 4, nobody will know what the
Nobody
hell
knows
you're
what that
talking about.
means.
Yeah. Oh my
gas,
God.
gas,
MOP 4.
gas.
Yeah.
Remember that? gas.
I know one time we were on a bivouac. We had our little tent set up, and they gassed us like 12 times. Every night they just throw out gas, fucking. And finally, I just got tired, and they were like, gas. And I took my fucking sleeping bag and rolled it up and went right back to sleep. Never came back out.
Yeah.
It was, fuck that, I'm not going out there again.
The second time I got in trouble in the military, speaking of sleeping, was I was at we were at Fort Gordon, and we had to do PT, and I never liked to run to begin with. I don't have the knees for it. I don't love it. And so me and my buddy came up with a scheme where we'd get at the back of the formation, and because we'd run past our barracks. So right as we run past the barracks, because it's still dark, we'd just slip off and go to the barracks. And we would literally get in our lockers and sleep in the locker. And man, the drill sergeant, we heard him coming down the hall. Beam, Morgan, where you at? Beam, I know you're in here. Man, he came in the room. He looked I know you could hear him moving stuff around in there looking for us. Never opened the lockers. We were sitting in there going, oh God, damn, man. And so next, morning formation, and we show up, and he's like, where were you? You mean we were running with you? We did PT. He goes, you didn't, but you know what? I'll make sure tomorrow, now you do run with me right up front. And then the rest of the time, man, we had to run at the front of the formation on PT, which is the worst. You're not getting out of it.
My first day in basic training, the night before, we were told we weren't going to basic training till the weekend was up. It was like a Friday, Saturday. So they said, we'll go to basic training Monday. So I did CQ, a 24-hour CQ. So I didn't get any sleep.
Okay.
And then that next morning, they took us to basic training.
Oh, wow.
So we're in basic training, and I had no sleep for 24 hours. And the drill sergeants are screaming at us and yelling at us. And they sit us down in this warm room, and I instantly go. So they waking me up with fucking kicking me in the head and shit. I'm like, So that morning I finally get into bed that night, and I'm done. There's nothing left. I'm sleeping. The next morning, what they used to do is they'd open up the door and they'd take the garbage can that was in the end of the hallway and throw it down the fucking hallway.
Yeah.
Smacking the garbage can top.
Yeah, that's what they do.
I didn't hear any of it. I was that fucked up. I was that
no,
out.
I mean, you sleep hard like I do.
I was sleeping hard like motherfucker. So all of a sudden, I'm flipped. The whole bed is flipped,
Mhm.
and I'm under a floor, and the bed's on top of me, and I'm looking around like, what the fuck just happened?
Yep.
God damn it, get the fuck up, Ortiz! And I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, no, it was the first day was crazy.
My son, God love him. This was his moment in basic training. He tells this story every once in a while. It's a great story, but you know, when as you point out, when you're in basic training, one of the things that are core is they sleep deprive you. That's by design.
Absolutely.
You know, so they try to make sure that you don't get a lot of sleep. You're completely frazzled. So if you get still for 30 seconds, you're going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. Now, I learned that on Sunday when we would clean our bunks and our bays, that I could get under the bed, put my hands in the springs, and go to sleep. And so if a drill sergeant walked in, my hands are up. It looks like I'm tucking my bunk in, you know. But my son, he wasn't, I guess, that clever. And so he decided he'd go to the shitter, you know, and he told his buddy, hey, you know, make sure and wake me up, you know. And he fell asleep, literally, in there on the shitter. He said he woke up, he heard something. He didn't know what it was, but all of a sudden he heard whispers. And it was the drill sergeant going, don't you wake him up. Don't you wake him up. He had everybody in the platoon in that bathroom, outside that stall. And he said, man, I thought about everything in the world. He said, if I could have flushed myself down that toilet, I would have been gone. He said, but when I had to open that door and everybody's in the front leaning rest position in the bathroom, they're all pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, oh, Private, were you sleeping? He said, I thought about lying. He goes, I just said, yeah, I sure was, drill sergeant.
No, and then when we were in the Army, they still had blanket parties back
Oh,
then.
man,
Remember
yeah.
the blanket
Yeah,
parties?
of course I do.
Yeah, that was something, I mean, I know they don't do that anymore.
No,
I don't know if they do or
Think they
not.
do?
I think they do.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
they do
man.
more than
You know
that.
how bad somebody gets it, man.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I know that there was a guy in my platoon that he wanted out. And so the way he decided to get out was he took his can of Skull, and when he made his bunk, he put it right under the blanket because it's so tight you can see the outline. So he wanted to get thrown
Yeah.
out. That didn't work, but it did cost us all to do a lot of push-ups. So when everybody went to sleep that night, next thing you know, you got 4 guys each grabbing the corner of a blanket, and everybody came through with soap and a sock, and just,
Oh, my God. Yeah.
he got him 54 of those, you know, 54 of them. He never messed up again,
Yeah.
you know. But now my son said that they sanction scraps now. You know, not the drill sergeants, but the platoon leaders and everybody. And if you had beef with someone after the drills were gone and in the evening, you'd gather in someone's squad, they'd circle around you, they'd have a watch, and you just go fight.
Wow.
You just scrap. And my son said he called one dude out and whooped that ass. He said, but he said, I took an ass whooping on one too, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, I got
You know.
I got the shit kicked out of me by this kid from Texas, Private John Esther. I'll never forget him. He was like
He really did,
big
didn't he?
country guy, big country dude, like you know, throwing haystacks at the farm and shit his whole life. And he was huge. He was like 6'4". I mean, just huge. And I was a squad leader, and you know, thinking I was a badass, you know. And I was like, you know, you do what you're told. He goes, man, fuck you. And I put my hand like this in his face, and I said, and he, one hand grabbed this wrist, the other hand he grabbed me by the waist, picked me up, put me completely straight up over his head. And
pressed
at that
you.
moment, yeah, I'm like, I fucked up. Like, this the fuck around and find out moment. Like,
Yeah.
I'd have fucked around about to
out.
find out, and he threw me. I mean, I went flying through the air.
He
right
threw
into a wall.
you.
He threw me
He didn't
into
just
a wall locker.
slam
No,
you, he threw
no,
you.
he threw me into a wall locker, and I hit the floor, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm about to die, you know. And he's coming. I landed right next to a steel pot.
Oh,
So as he's coming, I grab this steel pot, and I just go, boom, hit him in the head, and he instantly goes into that, like, laid out,
That's-
blam,
yeah.
lands on top of me and shit. And I'm like, get this big motherfucker off me. So they finally pull him off, and they drag him into a corner, and I'm thinking to myself, oh,
Did I kill him?
I'm gonna fucking die. He
Yeah.
said when he comes to, he's gonna kill me. He just walked over and shook my hand. We became best friends. after
Yeah,
that.
no, that's
Yeah.
all the times. You know,
Yeah.
that's how it works with
Yeah.
dudes. Dudes are different, man. You know, once you scrap a dude, either you just avoid each other
Yeah.
or you become friends.
become
And a lot of
friends,
times
yeah.
you become friends, especially
Yeah.
when you're younger.
Yeah.
You know, I had a guy like that in the neighborhood. He whooped my ass real good, knocked me out. I told the older guys, they whooped his ass. We became good friends.
Yeah.
You know, it's how it worked out.
Yeah.
You know, I had the clout.
Yeah, no, that was how it was in the hood. You got into a fight, and then sooner or later, either you became friends or you were lifelong enemies. But
Yeah.
that was it. You had to fight.
Would you say that you grew up in more of a poor area?
Oh
or-
yeah,
yeah.
in the ghetto. Yeah,
Straight up.
Yeah, straight
Yeah.
ghetto. I born in the South Bronx, New York, which was
Okay.
straight ghetto then. And then we moved to Humboldt Park in Chicago, which is the
Yeah.
same thing. It's
Uh-huh.
the same neighborhood in a whole different city.
Yeah. So how
So,
did
yeah.
you navigate? I mean, did ever you
I
become
was
part of that?
I was a straight A student.
You were.
I was a.
So
I
you
was-
just kept your
yeah, everybody
kept your
kind
nose
of
out
left
of
me
it.
alone. Yeah, I never
Yeah.
did. My brother, on the other hand, was in New York. He was a black spade.
Mhm.
Then in Chicago, he became a gangster disciple. He was always a
Okay.
gangbanger, always into drugs. I was a straight A student. I didn't get into drugs till I got married later on in life.
Yeah.
yeah. That's when I, when
So
I
is
got
your brother
married.
still alive?
Yeah, he's a year younger than me. Looks like he's 108 years
Oh,
old.
no.
Yeah, he's just no teeth and just wasted away. But he was, I'll tell you what, he was one of the scariest people. And when I was a kid, I thought I'll fucking shoot him. I'm not gonna fight him. I'm not gonna fight
Your
him.
own brother?
Yeah,
he
you
was-
couldn't put him down. He had no. He's like a Wolverine berserker race
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
You couldn't stop him.
And you see those there are those guys sometimes that just they go into that mode. And
I'll tell you,
know it.
if we were in the time of the gladiators, he'd have been a famous fucking gladiator. He's been
Yeah.
like Spartacus, you know. but
Yeah, right.
Because he just never, there was no putting him down.
No, it's like those guys that, and you always see them because they got the eyes like
Yeah.
this, and those guys you hit and they laugh.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, oh
I
no.
punched him in the skull one time as hard as I could, and he just smiled at me, and
Yeah.
I thought, "Fuck."
Yeah, I'm done.
He just smiled
Yeah,
at
I'm
me, and I
done.
thought,
Yeah,
and
no.
he's smaller. I'm bigger than he is, but he was always just wiry, like
Yeah.
just cut up, and I mean, he was all muscle.
Just a spider monkey
Yeah,
just
he
come
was-
at you.
oh
and
my
climb
God.
you and punch
I
you.
seen him beat the shit out of 4 guys and a Toyota once. He grabbed
And a Toyota.
and a Toyota. He grabbed the driver through the window, beat the shit out of him, and the other 3 guys were coming, and he beat the shit out of all 4 of them. And when he was done beating the shit out of all 4 of them, he was still standing there angry, so he beat the shit out of the Toyota they were
That's
driving.
great, man.
Yeah.
Just beat up the Toyota.
Long live
Uh,
Spartacus.
Hey, check this out. It says, oh shit, that's Alex Ortiz. I seen him at the Looney Bin.
Yeah. No duh.
You can see him again tonight. How about
Tonight
that?
and tomorrow.
And tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. What time are your shows at the Looney Bin tonight?
7:30 and 9 tonight. 7:30, 10 tonight. 7 and 9:30 tomorrow.
There
I
you
know
go.
some
So
kinda
you're going to
30s.
want to get out for sure.
Yeah, come check it out. We're gonna have some fun.
see that.
tonight.
Yeah,
we had a
no.
blast last night.
Did you?
Oh yeah, it's great.
You
We had a
good
great
crowd,
time.
good
oh,
fun?
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was a lot of fun. There were some really hot lesbian chicks in the room. That was a lot.
You know,
of
and
fun.
that's a rarity.
Oh, they were hot.
You know, most of the time they're, the fantasy does not.
Yeah,
When you meet
no.
a couple of lesbians, normally you're like, you don't look like what my fantasy.
Yeah,
is.
no,
This is
no.
not
You're-
Pornhub.
You look more like a truck driver that scared the shit out of me. when I
Yeah,
was a
you
kid.
look like
Yeah.
Large Marge.
Right, large Marge.
Tell
Exactly.
Large Marge.
No,
sent ya.
there was like a whole table full of hot. Oh my God! And the one chick says, "Don't get too close to my wife," and I was like, "Well, I'll do both of y'all." I don't
Yeah.
care."
Yeah, if I have to do you too, sir, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I've told this story, so I'm not going to bore everybody, but we were doing, my wife does stand up as well. And we were doing stand up at a place here in town. And I had been on the radio, I've been in broadcast for 20 years now. And I was on the radio and I was telling a story about the new lifestyle, they call it. They don't call it swinging.
Right.
The swingers don't call it swinging anymore,
Right.
right? It's the lifestyle. And I was doing a story about that. And really, I was just reading the story. But the vernacular I used, somehow I dropped some kind of inadvertent pineapple code.
Oh yeah.
I didn't mean to, but I did. And so we go to this show, and there's 30 people at this table, and we're like, what's going on with this table? They came because they thought
You
we
were
might.
swingers?
Yeah. Yeah. And it was the greatest thing. We were like, this is hilarious.
The pineapple thing I found out on the cruise ship.
ship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like
Walls and on
they're
the
all.
doors. Don't knock on them doors.
Yeah, no, the
Yeah,
pineapples
they'll
like.
answer.
I guess you could.
Yeah, they came over and then, the pineapple's on, and I guess this guy was telling me his lady walked up to me and she's like, we were thinking about you might come to our room later, and I'm like, huh?
Were you?
And he's like, his husband's like, yeah, you could do the wife and all. I'm like, huh?
Huh?
The whole time I'm like a fucking idiot. Go, huh?
Huh?
What?
What? What?
Yeah, no, you could come. And I was like, huh? And then I started to get the whole vibe, and I was like, what are you going to be doing while I'm doing your wife? 'Cause I'm not sure I'm comfortable with whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
If you're going to be sitting in the corner masturbating, I'm going to be bothered by it.
Yeah, no,
swear
I
to
can't
God.
look over and
Yeah,
see
no.
that. Yeah,
Right.
that's a
And if you're
buzzkill.
thinking about getting behind me, I'm like, I'm not with that either. You know, unless there's Diddy money involved, it's not happening. You
Right,
know,
unless
so.
you get me a record deal.
Right.
For a record
But
deal,
I mean,
we'll do that. Yeah.
I didn't know, like, for 5 minutes, I stood there going, huh? Huh? Like, what are you talking about? And then I started to find out the whole pineapple. See, little pineapple pin.
Yeah.
And the upside down and shit, you know, and I'm like, what's up?
Oh.
What's going on with this? And then, you know, she came over, she goes, yes, I want to be with you tonight. And I was like, huh?
And he wants to.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's.
Not sure what he's gonna be doing, but I'm very
I tell you
uncomfortable
what.
about the
Can we
second guy.
put him in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Is that cool?
How did you get out of that conversation?
I just went. I'm married and I don't do that kind of thing.
That's funny.
My wife would not be
That's
approval
wild,
of it.
man.
But it was crazy because the one time that I was like this French couple from Quebec, and she was like drop dead gorgeous. And she
You
was a
thought
cop.
about it.
She was a cop from Quebec.
Oh wow.
Oh my God. And she's, I mean, in this bikini, and she's like, yes, tonight I want to be with you. And I was like,
Oh yeah.
tonight, shit. I'm looking at the husband. He's like, he's standing behind her, just nodding his head, going,
Wee wee.
yeah. I'm like,
Wee wee.
I still don't know what the hell he's going to be doing. This is the
Yeah.
thing.
No,
I'm
it's
not
very
sure.
uncomfortable.
I'm
yeah.
not sure what the whole.
Is this a setup? Could I get rolled?
Right.
Will I be
What's gonna happen?
murdered?
Right. Or I'm going to get something
Is it
dropped
step
in my
too
drink,
weird?
and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Wake up
it's
bloody and confused.
Yeah.
on the
No, that
Lido
was always
deck.
my fear, man. Yeah.
On the Lido deck with just my butthole bleeding, going, what happened last night?
No, I've had that near serial killer moment, and no, I've learned if it seems a little too weird, I don't do it.
Yeah.
Because I did something a little too weird once, and I nearly, I should have been dead. Should have been dead. You know. A few more comments here. Our resident rock star out of Nashville, Luke Shoemaker, said, "What's up? What up, bro?"
What's up, man?
Kristen, good morning. Jody said, "I'd argue that Carlin was as much of a poet as he was a comic."
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
I'd
say
so
that
too. That's a good point.
his ability to manipulate the language is certainly on par with that. Yeah, I would agree. Latasha said, "Good morning." Pumpman 501. What's up, Pumpman? Tammy, good morning, Crystal. She said, "Good morning. It's Friday. Love this show. Thank you, Crystal." Dad's After Dark. What up, people? Darren says, "Good morning." John, he said, "How you feeling, man?" To be honest with you, the ribs still hurt, bro. Like last night, I was just like, man, how long is it going to be? I looked it up. It's like 4 to 6 weeks for my ribs to heal. I'm an idiot, you see, if you hadn't figured that out already. And we had a massive event here, a big wrestling event. And somehow, some way, I got suckered into being in a match, and something went a little amok. And I hit the rope on my ribs with about a 350-pound man on top of me. And, man, boy, it compressed it real nice for me.
Right now, this finger here, just the very tip of it.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing some work at home, and I had a friend helping me, and the guy's fucking big muscular idiot. And so I'm holding on to this beam, and he slams it.
Oh.
It goes right into the freaking wall. So he fractured the top of his finger, just the very little end bone.
Yeah.
All it hurt like a bitch for a minute, but it was the most annoying injury of my life. Like,
Yeah.
I broken a leg, broken arm, but just the tip of this finger getting hurt, like
Man.
it's the hand I wipe my ass with. So,
Bro, let
You
me
know what I'm saying?
let me show you
Like,
some
that is rabbit
sympathy.
hole.
Let me show you some sympathy here. I put mine into a table saw
ooh,
and lost the end of it.
right.
Okay, now most of it grew back. But to your point, there is nothing that feels weirder or more violating than using your offhand to wipe your ass.
Dude, that is the
It-
weirdest thing ever.
It doesn't know the territory, doesn't know the layout, it doesn't understand what's going
No.
on. It feels wrong.
Right.
You feel violated. It's like, this hand is not right.
This is not supposed to do that. I
Yeah.
mean, it's my masturbating hand. It's my butt wiping hand. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know that you want to use this for the same, do you? I mean, I hope you wash them
absolutely.
well.
You wash
yeah,
it.
no,
You wash it.
I
It's good.
definitely.
Some sanitizer, you're good.
No, I'm
Doesn't
right. right-handed. I use the left just so I don't have to do that. Yeah, I know I can.
But yeah, but the most irritating thing is having to go to the bathroom and then going, this is awkward.
How does this work? I don't even know how to use that to get there. It's not. Yeah, no, I've been there, bro.
Yeah.
Certainly been there, man. Alex, I've been sitting here this whole time, and I'm pretty sure, and you probably wouldn't remember. I'm pretty sure that so many, many years ago, I used to run a comedy room out of a place called Juanita's here.
No kidding.
It was, downtown, and I would book a lot of comedy. And I'm about 99% sure that I'd had you come in. Have you performed in Little Rock before?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
The first time I came here, there was a Funny Bone here.
Yeah, that was
in
down at the
Little
River
Rock.
Market.
Yeah. I started there, and then I started working for Jeff at the Looney Bin ever since.
Yeah. Jeff's good people, man. I remember old Jeff back in the day. We used to talk a lot about the comedy market because I was kind of an up and comer,
Yeah, he was one of the coolest dudes ever.
Yeah, but I definitely there's some connection. I'm trying to remember what it is. Maybe it was just Eric Myers. I'm not sure, but I remember your name, and seeing you, and it was a big deal at that time.
Wow.
A lot of people were like, "Oh, it's Alex Ortiz," So I know you were blowing up at that point. So what's going on with you now? You just tour and perform.
I
all
had
over?
to leave the cruise ships because, like I said, it was a really bad environment for me.
Yeah.
Because you get bored.
Yeah, there's not much to do.
Not
Eat
much
or
to
drink.
do.
You
Yeah,
can
and
get
then
fat
you
or
have,
drunk.
like, you're on there for 21 days. You have 5 shows in 21 days.
That's all.
That's it.
Wow.
Well, because I was the big name guest entertainer,
Gotcha.
so I only did the theater, and and for the rest of the time you're off on your own, and that's a bad place.
Oh,
for
that
me.
is a bad place to be.
especially when I'm in my head.
A lot of
and
women,
I'm bored.
a lot of booze,
drinking,
a lot of this and
So,
that.
and then it was killing my marriage because my wife was like, I'm home, I'm taking care of this house, and you're out in fucking St. Martin and Paris, and you're drinking and you're partying for 21 days, then you come home for 2 days, and then you fly off for another month.
Yeah, no, it's not feeling real good for her. She's like, this is not exactly so fun.
And I could feel her. I was like, I understand completely because you still got to take care of all the bills at home.
She's doing all the basic chores and functions,
right. She's
and
taking
you out
care
here
of her,
kicking it on the ship.
having a great time.
Yeah, and she's getting more and more resentful with every trip you take.
Exactly, and more pictures on Instagram of girls in bikinis and shit like that.
Not
Yeah,
them,
so
not the girls in bikinis.
And so she was getting, and like I said, it was a bad environment for me. But now I'm back to doing comedy clubs. I do more local stuff at home. I'm getting the whole voiceover thing started.
Are you?
Yeah,
That's great, man.
So I get to work at home. I'm doing a lot more writing. I wrote a screenplay. Got picked up for a couple of festivals and stuff, but it hasn't gone anywhere yet.
How did you get into that circuit? How did you get into doing that?
Signed up online. It's looking up online, and I signed up, and I sent in my script, and they were like, "Yeah, come on down." So I ended up going to Vegas and doing this whole thing, and that's the thing that I want to do is because I get to sit at home and do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I get to sit at home. I could write. I get up in the morning. I take out the laptop, and I'm I get it. The thing about being a writer is you got to write.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You got to write. You can't say, "Hey, I want to be a writer," and then watch TV all day. And
no,
you got to pull out. You got to put some effort into it.
Yeah.
So the more I write, the easier it becomes. It's just like anything else.
It does get easier, I guess, so to speak. Yeah, it's writing is one of those things that you got to do it.
Yeah, you got to sit down.
Will lose it.
Yeah, you got to sit down and put yourself to it. And no matter how much if you stop writing, you got to start all over again.
You really do. So if you are a writer and you want to stay at it, I mean, just commit to at least 30 minutes a day minimum. If you can do that, you'll keep it going. But most of the time, 30 minutes turns into an hour, which turns into 3. And the next thing you know, you're sitting there going, man, I just wrote 12 pages, man. This was really good.
That's amazing. And I got like a show. I have an idea, for a new book. And so I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to start writing. And then at home, I'm doing a lot of, local clubs, things in the area. And then I'm doing a lot of hosting. Like people, hey, man, why don't you come host this award show and stuff, So it's nice to be home.
Yeah.
Especially my age. I'm a grandfather, brand new grandfather.
Oh, congratulations, man. How's that been?
Oh, it's fantastic.
How old's your grandbaby?
She is 5 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
5 months. So everybody always says that, You know, it's you don't understand till you get there.
Yeah.
Would you say that's true? That
Yeah.
it's a different kind of love.
It's a different kind of love, yeah. And then it's wild to see my son be so hands-on, fathery,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because I love being a dad. It's the job I do the best because it's the one I love to do the
Man,
most.
you know, hey, man, let
Yeah,
me give you
yeah,
respect for
you know
that.
what I'm
You know, I
saying?
feel the same way.
I'm
If I had to pick one of my jobs, that's the one I
That's the
keep.
one I love the most.
Yeah.
And then so to watch him be as attentive as I was, to see him, and the coolest thing is he's 25 now. He got his master's degree in psychology.
Oh wow!
Came out of school.
So he's a legit psychologist.
yeah, he's a psychologist.
Master's degree. That's a doc. Well, next is a doctorate.
Yeah, next is he's going for his doctorate now. But he works as a counselor at the high school. He's a mentor for kids. He's a high school baseball coach. 'Cause he
Wow.
loves baseball. And he's 25 years old. He walks into my room, and I'm laying in bed, you know, and he goes, he's got Dad, we got to talk. And I'm like, guy? He goes, yeah, I got this girl I've been with for about a year, and you know, and we've been together, and she's pregnant, and she's about to have a baby, and I didn't know how to approach you about it. And I thought to myself, kid, I was 19 when I had my first kid. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I was lost in the world. I was in the army, you know, still trying to figure shit out. You're like 25. You got your own place. You got a career. You're a master's degree. I stood up and I just walked over and kissed him on the face and said, "Son, I'm the happiest I could be." Like, it was the coolest thing to see him so nervous to try and tell me. And I thought,
Man, you're so much better off than I was.
Like
you're
way ahead of where I was when I first had a kid.
No, that's what I tell both my sons. I mean, you know, my job is to get you further down the road than I was before you do it.
Oh, at 25, he's a better man than I am now.
Yeah, no, I the same.
Yeah.
You know, I've been very blessed to raise two very, very, very good young men who are just amazing people. You know, and I love them.
Oh yeah, and he's like I said, he's even now at this age, I'm more impressed by him than I could ever be by me. No matter what I've done, all the shit that I've done, firefighting, nursing, he's more impressive to me than I could ever be.
That's
he's looking at becoming a doctor.
That's awesome, man.
I'm gonna go
you got to
get
feel
my doctorate.
so proud of that.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, like, wow, somehow, some way, I contributed to this success.
And to see him nervous. Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? You're like my hero.
Yeah, right.
And now you bring me a grandbaby. I love you more now.
Yeah, that's great, man. That is awesome.
He comes over and he's with her and he's hands on. It's great to watch.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Alex, if people want more, and I'm certain, Alex, people want more Alex Ortiz. How do they get it, man? Where do they go to find you? What's
Instagram,
the place to do it?
TikTok, funny Alex Ortiz. FUNNYALEX or RTIZ, right? Funny Alex Ortiz. And I'm half black, half Puerto Rican, so my website is www.spigger.com.
SPIGGER.
P-I-double-G-E-R, yes, sir. And people don't believe me, but when I first came up with the
You're
word,
something else.
I thought,
damn
that's
it.
great, and I bought the website and had it for
You bought the domain?
Yeah, I got the domain, and that's my website.
Nobody ever had it. Nobody ever. Shockingly, no one ever had that. I can't believe it was available.
It's the same one. It's alexortiz.com. It's the same website.
It all goes to the same place. That is that, man, bro. Let me tell you something, man. I've had a lot of people in the seat, and I continue to be impressed by everybody that comes, but I have to be honest, I felt more kindred and more fun with you today, man. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I really appreciate you.
We have the same
Yeah, we got a little something going.
Kids,
yeah.
Good dads. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you what, anytime you're around, I'd love to have you in the studio. And I tell you what, maybe, wherever you're at, we can, bring you on by video a couple times a year,
Absolutely.
too. I'd love to catch up with you, see what's going on in your
I've
world.
had a blast today. I thought I'm getting up too early to be here, but now it was worth everything.
Yeah, that's good.
Even
man.
driving into the backwoods.
I know, even driving into the abyss.
The abyss here with the
ocean,
Nazi swastika out front.
Yeah, whatever. There's no swastika.
I swear there's no swastika, but it's two sickles and there's two sickles like this and this. I'm driving up, I'm like, that's not a swastika. It's not, but that's the first thing I saw.
That's hilarious, man. That's hilarious. No, yeah, we'd love to. So let's definitely connect up and keep up with you so that folks can know what kind of comedy you're doing, what you're writing, what you're working on, and read all the stuff that you got going.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, listen, I want to do this real quick. You guys know that we have Crazy XFL Gym, and XFL Gym is real special. You know it. He's an acquired taste. He's not for everybody, but he is for somebody. And, man, when it comes to football, he knows what he's talking about. Let's do it. Let's go XFL Jim.
XFL Jim here to give you the latest scoop on everything football. Shout out Patrick and the people. Let's fucking people the Patrick to you.
It's XFL Jim on Patrick and the People. That's right, folks. We have the wild, we have the crazy, we have it all for you and your loins, your luscious, lavacious loins. It's time for the weekly roundup with XFL Jim, brought to you by Patrick and the People.
Let me start off the show by explaining to you exactly what the absence has been for me. Why I have been not around, so to speak, for the last few weeks. And that's a very easy story. I've been convening with the gyms. We have our yearly meeting of the gyms at the beginning and end of each year. So we...
Wait a minute. They put the wrong XFL Jim in here. Oh, no, we've got a tragedy going right now. That was last week's XFL Jim. It's supposed to be in here. But I will say this. That was the greatest thing maybe I've ever seen was Alex's face as XFL Jim was doing his opening.
That was wild.
It's so surreal and
that
weird,
is
isn't
so
it?
wild. I'm watching it like,
Like it's like a train wreck.
Yes,
that
you
see
got-
more
you
of.
gotta
Yeah,
watch.
it's like so amazing, man.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, I don't know what the hell is going on, where XFL Jim is, the new one, and why it's not here, but we will get it figured out. But meanwhile, as always, thank you to Chad for being here.
I'm not shaking his hand again.
No, I understand. He nearly broke it.
Yeah, almost broke
if you need a piercing, if you need a bonus.
That's why your hand's so fucking hard. You're the piercer. You're
Yes,
spinning
he's-
all
that's
day
right,
long.
that's
I
right.
swear to God, he pierced my fingers.
Yeah, he will. You got to be careful, man. You got to be careful. Don't get caught in that trap, you know. If you need that, go see Chad and Conway. Where are you located at?
1008 East Oak, Conway.
All right, 1008 East Oak in Conway. You already know about Alex, and you know who I am and where I'm at. Just thank you guys for being the greatest audience on the planet, and we'll see you next time around.
Peace.
Wow.